back. Welcome back.
Here with me back in OBS after you've installed the filter. What you're going to do is create a scene next with just your camera or your green screen or whatever.
Okay, I can do that. That's easy. Let's go ahead and make this scene and just call it camera. And then let's add my camera. Okay, and then let's right click this. Let's go to transform. Let's go to fit to screen. Okay.
I already have it. So if I go down here and I click just cam, this is the scene I use when I go on panels. What you're going to do now is right click on that scene after you set it up, add your camera, add your green screen, whatever, but please keep it simple. Less is more. You can show your stream whatever you want, but when you're on a panel, you're one of 9 boxes or whatever on the screen. So you want to make sure that it's very simple. Just your camera, your green screen behind you with some image on it. You can do whatever you want, but just keep it basic and simple, please. So you're right clicking on the scene and you're going to click on filters, left click filters, and you're going to click the plus sign down in the lower left hand side, and you're going to select virtual cam. Name it whatever you want. I already have it, so you can see it right here on my screen. This is what you're going to see. Now, this is so easy. I don't change any of these filters. All you do is hit start right in the middle.
Wait a minute. I don't have start. There's no properties available. There's no properties available, bro. Wow. That's crazy. I'm just going to assume that I don't need to add any changes to it. Because it doesn't give me any options for the filters on it, but
start. Notice how it says OBS camera right here under target camera.
Oh no. Wait, I don't have any of that, IRI. Bruh. What are you doing to me, bruh? You put the filter on the scene, no? Oh, wait. It's just like... No. It is fucked. It's not there. Okay. Well, I will just assume that this works properly.
Keep that in mind. When you close this screen, now you can switch to your scene that you want to use on your stream. Let's say this is it, whatever, right? Obviously, you don't want this on the panel, but you want to show your community this while you show the panel or whatever. But if you go into Discord now, under your settings, under the video settings portion, you select camera.
Okay. Camera, OBS virtual camera. I don't think that's... Oh, it works. It's just laggy, I think, but it works. Guys, look at this. I'm a monster, dude. What the hell? Look. And I look to the left and the right at the same time, dude. I've got superior evolutionary prowess. I'm like a fucking deer, dude. I can see both sides at once. That's incredible. That's incredible. Wonderful. Okay, that's done. Now we just have to call this dude and then we're all set, okay? Wow. Happy to be lucky enough to check you out live today. Well, I'm happy to be lucky enough to have caught you at the right time to have you here, bro. Honestly. Time to call this guy. Let's see if we can't start this up. Well, hopefully he picks up. Hopefully. Why aren't you calling me? I already... Calling who? Who is this asking this silly question? Let's see. Skanky toast. Wow. I'd like to have me a slice of skanky toast. You know what I mean? Maybe I should call you next. If Connor doesn't pick up, I'll call you Skank. Skanky, I'm sorry. Only your friends get to call you Skank. I'm sorry. I got too familiar too quick. I had another friend that I call Skank. There's no excuse. I'm sorry for that one. That was a bad slip up, Skanky. My bad, bro. I disrespected you. My bad. I don't know you like that, you know. We could have an interesting conversation. Yeah, we could. I'm sorry. I got problems. This stream's title a Batman reference? No. I feel like you were talking about having this called months ago. Yeah, we've been trying for a very long time, bro. Kiss yourself? Connor's not answering, so maybe we skip Connor today. You guys want to watch some? Want me to call you and to see if we can fix it? I think it's done. I think it's done correctly already. Because look, when I do this, I'm gonna expose our DMs because I'm like that. It looks fine, so I think we're a-okay. We are a-okay. That's Mr. Skanky to you. All right. Well, I'm not giving you honorifics, bro. I don't know you like that, bro. You don't know me like that. I feel like yeah. So there's that Sedba. Hello.
I was introducing you to my chat. So I was saying, actually, this is a perfect segue. Let me change to my reaction. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Can you, because I was summarizing who Destiny was in the Twitch and Twitter politics space and how you kind of came on the scene as a rhetorical consultant, can you go over your background and your original ideas for the Twitch and politics space and maybe where you're at right now?
Sure. Just give me 2 seconds because I want to put you on my screen real quick. I don't ever do these. I don't ever collab with people, so it's all new to me. Let's go ahead and add a thing called Discord, and then let's not that one.
Damn, Buck, we were smooth. We were rolling right into the introduction, and then you're like, no, I got to do technical stuff.
I'm zen, bro. I meditated before this. I'm like, technical problems, they normally trigger me, but just for you, I tried to be. There we go. Look at that. You're looking very handsome in your little box, okay? It's helping.
Thanks, buddy. Thanks.
There we go. That's perfect. Now let's just put this tidy you. Let's do a little bit of this, huh? There we go.
Beautiful.
It's like I'm talking right to you.
Well, if you're technically set up, then what I was going to say is this is my impression, and I would love a correction and an expansion, was that you saw some of Destiny's debates. You saw debates in the Twitch and Twitter sphere. You were like, hey, I'm a decent academic, hence the name Booksmarts. Used to make money assisting people communicate via written essay and fancy yourself a decent communicator. As a result of being a decent communicator, you wanted to see if you could rhetorically improve the space. And basically, you've been slamming your head into a brick wall for the better part of a year and a half to the point that you want to... at this point, debate reviews are emotional self-harm for you. Does that seem like a...
Yeah, that's the TLDR of it. What I used to do before is I used to be like, I used to help graduate students in particular with their theses. So you can be a decent researcher, you can be decently educated in your field, but be a really poor writer. And then your university is kind of like milking you for your time and your money in a way that is kind of like unfair. So for the people who want to put the investment into having somebody handhold them through the process, through edits, through drafting, through organizing whatever research it is that they've done, or advising them on what topics to select or how to conduct it, I help them with like all steps of the process. So doing that, I kind of learned how to deal with people who are at that kind of higher academic level and the kinds of tedious requirements that they have and what pisses them off and what doesn't, because I see a lot of that reflected in the like logical approach that Stephen takes to conversations and debates. And so I thought maybe I'd be uniquely suited to help him and other people in the space. But I quickly realized people don't really change very much. They don't really put forth a lot of effort into changing. A lot of the people who say they want to be positive and this, that, and the other thing, they don't actually act on that in a real way that is, I don't know, like sufficient for me. And over time, it just felt like I'm wasting my time by covering minor drama between minor internet celebrities in some niche corner of the internet. Yeah. So
well, what was the difference? Because this is something that I noticed that I don't know if you were ready for it when you first started. Was what is the differences that you notice between rhetoric and written communication? Because, for instance, I think that there's almost like a crossed purpose. You came into the space with a crossed purpose compared to the space itself. So your purpose was, hey, there's a bunch of people with ideas and they're trying to communicate their ideas and they're trying to get buy-in for their ideas. So as a result, I'm going to help them communicate that to the other person and their audience better. Whereas the Twitch and Twitter and YouTube politics space is about taking those ideas, turning them into a bludgeon, and then beating someone to death with your ideas on TV for the audience's amusement. So what challenges did you find were different between the crossed purposes and also the difference between written communication and rhetorical communication?
Yeah. So whenever I think of rhetoric, I just think it's like choices that you're making to deliver ideas in the way that you want to. So if you're trying to be persuasive, it's kind of the word choice, it's the tone choice, it's the delivery choices you make to accomplish that goal of being persuasive. But you could fill in the blank with whatever. Maybe you're not trying to be persuasive. Maybe you're trying to break somebody down. Maybe you're trying to make yourself look like a fool or look smarter or whatever. There can be a variety of goals. And my understanding is rhetoric is kind of the choices that you're making to accomplish those goals. And yeah, in this space, they're not really trying to have what I would consider to be good conversations. It's obviously subjective. When I came in, I thought understanding somebody is going to be your very first step, because wherever you want to go from there, whether that's like make them look like a fool or reach some point of agreement or, whatever, starting from a point of agreement and giving people advice how to get there will help them accomplish any other goal that they want to do. But it was really hard to get people to want to do that because it requires being a good listener, which we're not really good at naturally. And it takes a lot of effort on your part to be good at that. So I kind of had to give up on that pretty quick. And yeah, like you said, people just try to bludgeon, each other with whatever it is that the other person is saying or what they're saying.
Have you ever tried appealing to their motivated reasoning? And by that I mean, have you ever said, "Hey, if you learn to be a better listener, then you can bludgeon your opponents better with your your better listening skills"?
At first, yes, but like after you say that enough, you start to listen to yourself, and you're like, "What the fuck am I saying? Why am I helping these people? Why am I doing this?" Like. It was when I started helping some more like right-leaning people behind the scenes that I really started to consider it, because it took me out of a space of what I believe in politically. And then I looked at maybe even the people that I believe in politically. It's like, you guys aren't really advocating for anything that's useful. You're trying to get internet points and build an audience and make money and whatever else. Like even if I agree with you politically, this seems like a waste of time, energy, and effort to be helping you with this. So
So this is actually interesting to me, and I think this would segue perhaps into the more positive aspects of the conversation. But it's not so much for me. This is kind of politics itself. When you're talking about real world politics, like who do you think of when you think of real world politics? You think of AOC, you think of Marjorie Taylor Greene, you think of Madison Cawthorn, you think of the most electrifying, weird Twitter mentioned dumbass politicians who have dumbass takes. But what can those people leverage that attention into, which is campaign donations and finance, and maybe a little bit, they might be so toxic that they can't sign on to some bills, but maybe their notoriety helps them co-sponsor other bills. So for me, this is politics. This isn't separate from politics. This actually is politics. The real disappointment for me is not that people are engaging in blood sports or advocating for their ideas or accumulating clout or accumulating money. My problem is, what do they do with that once they've achieved it? Once you have a few $100,000 in the bank, once you have the attention of a few 100,000 human beings who are capable of spending their time differently, once you have the influence to actually impact the way that these people perceive and live their lives, what do you do with that attention? And so far the answer is fuck all. Take their money. get a few sponsorships, become a 100,000-aire, and then maybe do a charity stream once every few months. That seems to be the limits of Twitch at this point. But is that actually the limit, or is it the lack of imagination from the biggest creators in the space?
So to kind of like break that all down and handle it, and I am taking notes, so hopefully I won't miss anything. When I think of politicians, I actually don't think of people like AOC and stuff. I think about a lot of the people that like I grew up watching on the news that were not these kind of pariah people. They're like lifetime career politician people. I think of like older presidents, and I think of like old leaders of other countries that I learned about in school. Generally, those are who I think about with politicians. But you're right. Working towards amassing an audience, amassing influence, these sorts of things, that's an important part of like the political process, and it gives you power. I actually think that like it's not that's step one, and then step two is what do you do? I think that step is happening in tandem with what they're using the power for. Whether you're a 50 viewer Andy or a 5,000 viewer Andy, what you're doing with that is indicative of what you are going to do with that. And I think you have to hold people to the standard of what they're doing now. If all you're doing now is shouting out for subs and trying to get money and whatever, I don't think for most people there is a transition point where they are actually going to shift gears into doing anything. I think that they need to do that regardless of the size that they're at. Even if they have nobody watching them, they should be going out and volunteering and doing what they can with their own personal time. And if they're not doing that and they're not mobilizing whatever small fan base they have, you can't really expect them to do that once they get bigger. I think it's foolhardy to think there's some point they hit at which they transition into actually being politically active. And so I actually think those two steps are always happening at the exact same time. What do you think?
I think that's okay. But I think it's okay, and I think it's smart. So for instance, I am a 50 to 150 viewer Andy. I am not, that big. I think even today we got like 70 viewers or something like that. Then my most popular content is science fiction breakdowns, where I'm like doing like media reactions and stuff. So my pop shit does better than my politics shit. So, but then I am trying to push my community now and in the future, and I'm trying to prime them for what I'm going to expect out of them later on. Basically meaning that my son is under 5. He gets his shot this fall. He's going to school this fall. So at that point, COVID isn't really a concern for me. So I've already applied to be a volunteer at a local elementary school in my community that is, affected by systemic racism and affected by, all these bad homes and bad families and this, that, all that bullshit. So I'll be doing that this fall. And then we've already created the digital infrastructure for a Discord, in which the point will be the way that we've done fundraising for like Ukraine, for instance, where we just got drunk and we did fundraising for Ukraine. If there's a natural disaster, we have community members who are in Indiana, we have community members who are in San Francisco, we have community members who are in different parts of the country, basically appointing, supervisors in those regions who can supervise a team of call it from a leftist perspective, mutual aid, call it from a right-wing perspective, communitarianism, whatever you want to call it. But basically then do a fundraiser specifically for disaster relief in those areas. If there was a big, tornado in Tennessee or a big snowstorm in Indiana, what can we do to make people's lives a little bit better? And then appointing those volunteers in order to take action. So that's kind of the 1 year goal is to have all of that stuff up and running by the summer fall. It was really supposed to happen this spring, but the COVID shit fucked me over. And Ukraine kind of fucked us all over. But the point being that leverage that good now, but also envision how that can be bigger, and also how you can leverage stupid shit like media breakdowns. If I get a few $100 from that, who's saying that I can't take 10% of the revenue from that and direct it towards that communal fund,
Yeah. And this is really what I wanted to focus on with you, is because I've heard a lot about this mutual aid. I've heard a lot about how you're using your Discord as a place to kind of organize these real life efforts to try and get things done. like there's so much I want to ask on that. I guess like two main things. Number one, how do you get over this mental hurdle that a lot of people have of like, I'm not big enough, I'm not quite there yet, I'm not going to have like enough of an impact to justify trying to organize this, I don't want to distract my community from doing the things that only benefit me. Whether people say that or not, I feel like that's part of their worries. Like, how did you get past that? And another one is going to be like, how did you decide to start doing that? Like, what pushed you to activate and start getting, the members of your community to be involved in that way?
Well, number one, I do want to be clear that at this time, the Discord is basically herding cats. Okay, that's what we spend our time on, is trying to get cats to not lacerate each other on a daily basis, and kind of just like pushing them in a, hey guys, how do we have conversations? That like we're still building block 0 right now, but we have the vision. The question is, how do we implement this vision, right? So we're still at building block 0. I don't want anybody under any impression that we're actually ready to go at this point. Basically, just speaking from me personally, I transitioned from a job this past fall where I was making slightly less than my bills to now I'm making my bills plus. So I freed up in a way, and my wife just graduated college yesterday. She finished her 2-year, and that was a short-term goal of hers. So she's done with school. She can focus on the kids. So a lot of things are opening up that previously weren't opening up. That's me. But I have the money that I can take 10% of my energy, 10% of my money, and do it. So that's number one. I'm in a position where I can do it. Number two, what's the motivation or the impetus, or what makes me think that these things are possible? My military background, because the military has a lot of really large ideas for logistics, really large, like invading a fucking country, or, having a, doing defense training with multiple nations, with multiple languages, with different kinds of equipment and all that kind of stuff. The only way that you get these grand ideas done is by starting and fucking it up. Like fucking it up so bad that it's embarrassing, like the first time that you do it. But what happens is, through time and experience and fucking it up repeatedly, as long as you keep attacking the same vision and the same goal, you will get way closer to that goal than you thought was possible. And also the vision will change as you're attacking that goal. Maybe you thought that it would be super easy to integrate the Thai Air Force into like a military training operation, but it turns out that when you guys hop on the same frequencies, they don't have the same communicative style that you do. So some dangerous shit starts happening, and they blow up the airwaves with like Thai language. Maybe you need a separate communications channel so they can communicate with each other professionally, but then when you need coordination, there's one like translator appointee who's on a different channel who can talk to the American liaison. These are things that you figure out through practice and fucking up. Sorry, there was one more question that I missed, is basically like, why did you try to get started on this, and what is it now? I missed another point.
I only had the two main ones, just those two, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I think
started and fuck it up.
Yeah. And on that point, like, you're never going to be able to kind of like foresee the problems you're going to run into and learn about by doing something. Like, there's only so much planning can do for you, and I don't think it should be like a ton of your time. Like, this is something that I'm constantly reminded of, because I try to plan a bunch of stuff for the stream and then it falls apart, because like once it seems like the plans aren't working and I'm confronted with all these new issues that I didn't account for, it feels bad because I spent so much time planning. And I think it to some extent, we have to be okay with failing and messing up, because you're never going to learn about the things that you messed up in the planning phase, because our human brains are not good at like creating the perfect, kind of simulation of what's going to happen. You're going to learn about things on the fly. And I think doing IRL streaming is something, for instance, recently where I've learned a lot about that. And I'm curious, what are some of the like major lessons recently you've learned doing your mutual aid stuff with your Discord, or I don't know, even recently just with streaming?
there are, so I want to reemphasize this because there's probably people in the Discord who are like, you haven't done anything yet except for the Ukraine fundraiser. So like, I just want to acknowledge that the only actual thing that we've done is the Ukrainian fundraiser where but like, again, 50 to 150 viewer Andy, but we raised basically 4K for Ukraine. So like we did something. Yeah, so we did something, but that's like the only community service-based thing that we've actually accomplished. What I would say is that, particularly for me, because I'm still in the wage cage right now, the main thing is there are so many good ideas and there's so many hours in the day, and you can basically bringing those things into reality is going to take longer than you think it will. So I wanted to have the mutual aid Discord up by February. It's now April rolling into May, and we have the skeleton infrastructure, but I don't have the opportunities. I want a solid launch. There's been collaborative content that I've been trying to get people herded into for a few months now. It's probably not going to shake out. Herding cats is probably the phrase of the day. And then I'm trying to think of what else, but basically I wanted to attack the audience, so I'm going to use this opportunity to do so. I only got so many fucking hours in the day. Okay? I only got so many hours in the day. I only have so much brain power. I have a lot of really positive intentions, but the truth is I have to work and take care of a family on top of my shit. And if I was 100,000-aire who could basically pop on the screen for 6 hours a day and basically pay my bills and then some, maybe we'd be moving on these projects a little bit faster. But there's not a lot of detractors, but there's a few. And to them, I want to say, fuck you. What are you doing? And if the answer is bitching, then stop and start doing something. Also, another little message I want to throw out there is, how do we get, I think this was the other question, is how do you get people in the community to start considering these things like they're actually going to do it? I think it's like somebody who's eating fast food. You don't like say, oh, hey, tomorrow you're only eating vegetables for the rest of your life. That's not the first step. The first step is like, try this candied broccoli. Have a salad drenched in Caesar dressing. You know what I'm saying? So if the Caesar dressing is watching Twitch politics blood sports, then the salad should be like, maybe 3 hours a month you do some volunteer work that you think is reachable, that you can commit to, that you enjoy. So that would be how we motivate Zoomers and Alpha to not be pieces of shit.
Another thing to kind of build on that, I feel like if people use that in arguments more and we're just dickheads about it, I think that might also force other people into a position where like, dude, if it only takes 3 hours of my time to be able to have a counter to somebody who's like, well, what the fuck do you do? Because I'm out here raising money for refugees. I'm out here trying to help the people in Ukraine, and you're sitting here doing nothing. Like, I think you reading articles and stuff is not comparable to me actually going out there and like talking. Like, I think to some extent Lauren Southern tries and does this, and you may disagree with her conclusions from that, but I think it gives her ammunition against other people, and it's easy to counter if you yourself just become involved in some way, because then you can just cancel it out. And if that came up more in these conversations, I feel like you'd force a lot of people into a dead end in an argument that wouldn't exist if they just did something. Like, I think that Dario is a good example of somebody who, like, you can't pull this sort of like, oh, you're not doing the thing that you believe in or whatever, because the man is working at like a co-op for making video games and things like he's actually living and doing things. So those kinds of arguments just don't work on him. Whereas for other people, that's certainly the case. And that movement from 0 to 1, I forget who emphasizes that as like a marketing technique, maybe like Gary Vaynerchuk or something, but like that is the hugest move that you could make, is from like doing 0 things, doing 0 hours a month, to like at least doing 1. There's just an infinite difference between 0 and 1, and just making that crossover for more people should be something we push for, because then it's a lot easier to conceive of what does 5 look like, what does 10 look like, because I know what 1 looks like, and it's not that bad.
And so that's where, for me, particularly with like the anarchist discourse, bathtub insulin and all that kind of shit, like the reason why For instance, like a lot of people were super uncharitable to Demon Mama. Maybe she deserves it, maybe she doesn't. But the point being that like I would borderline encourage that behavior, not because I want people to die from like, bathtub insulin, but because I think that like you could realize how fucking difficult that is. So let's say that Demon Mama was like, hey, I want to put my money where my mouth is, and I don't just want to talk about parallel structures. I want to engage in a parallel structure. I think that you can find out how hard it is to coordinate obtaining raw materials, getting people who are even willing to participate in this product in order to make like even what is it? It's like there's something that's like safe, that's relatively easy to make. I think it's like penicillin or something like that. So let's say that you wanted to create like homebrew penicillin for people who were in communities that don't have access to meds and can't afford it. So you basically wanted to make free penicillin. I think that just by starting on that project of looking for people who understand the chemistry, how to package it, how to keep it safe, how to keep it safely stored, how to ship it to the people that need it, and how to do all of this for free, just by exploring that idea, you'll probably realize how difficult it is. And by understanding how difficult it is, you'll understand your own limitations and how you can engage with the world. So instead of just throwing these like kind of like, what feels like utopian ideas at the wall, which sound great to a limited audience that ultimately doesn't do anything, why not take one of these ideas and try to implement it on a super small scale and see the challenges from that, and then kind of use that as a learning experience. This is actually this is a Jordan Peterson thing. A lot of people don't believe me when I say that I identify as like right wing or a Jordan Peterson fan because I don't talk about it a lot. But one of the things about that perspective, which is like, don't start with the world, start with yourself. The point is not to never deal with the world. The point is to learn enough about yourself and your own limitations that when you meet the world, you have the skills to engage with it properly. And so that's one of my frustrations with like online leftoids, is they have a lot of highfalutin ideas, but they have no practical application. And that's what I'm kind of like screaming from the rooftops about.
Yeah. That's what the food plan is. Okay, thank you so much. Big food plan. It smells good. Thank you. Sorry, I got food. I would show you much better, but I don't want to have a Tyler Run moment.
Classic Destiny move, eating pizza to assert dominance.
Yes, indeed. And I'm going to assert dominance because I'm about to talk shit about you. I hope you're ready for it.
I'm so ready for it. As a matter of fact, I'm sure chat's ready for it too.
I think one of the reasons why people won't do what you're talking about with like actually getting started or actually dipping their foot in the water or moving a couple of steps in the direction of any of the things that they advocate for is a fear of failure. Like, look at you. So you are putting forward the idea that
look at you fucking failure.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, like high key, like you.
No, I'm kidding.
You want to do these things, and you're moving forward with doing them. And what happens? You're hitting wall after wall after wall. It's taking a longer time. It's like herding cats. You realize maybe you don't have the time to be a cat herder. Maybe you don't have like all the skills to be the best cat herder with a couple of hours a week or something like that, right? Like, I think learning is a lot about failures that you like then overcome, and that overcoming of the failures is the learning process. I think a lot of people are afraid of that step one, and they're afraid of looking stupid or looking silly or having plans that don't match up with what the execution actually ends up being, and that scares them off of it. I think there's a lot of fear going on that keeps people from doing that. But at the same time, like, there are bragging rights, and there is an understanding that comes with actually doing things that like only you have because only you chose to go out and do it. And I think that that's a very difficult thing, and I don't know how to overcome it, because even if you're able to convince somebody to take those first steps, if they run into problems, a lot of people give up. Like, I ran into this behind the scenes trying to get streamers to do their own YouTube or to dual stream on YouTube. Oh, bruh, I'd have to like reset up my stream token. Oh, bruh, I would need to find an editor. Oh no, just cut up your VOD and do it this way. And but yeah, but then it's not like good, and I want it to look like, Destiny's editor does, and I want that. Like, okay, well then try and do that, like.
No, there's something called gear acquisition syndrome, and I started using it as a kind of like a parallel for my own shit. So gear acquisition syndrome is something that I recognize in a lot of starting streamers and starting YouTubers, is they say, once I have this equipment, once I have the software program, once I have this editing software, once I hire this person for this, this intro, once I get this digital art, once I get this, once I get that. The truth is that they're probably, like you said, scared of failure, and they're scared of what their actual project is going to look like. So they're coming up, they can simultaneously live in the fantasy of what could be, where they're an ultra wealthy, uber popular, uber successful streamer, but then they come up with reasons why they don't have to execute because it's not quite right yet. So they get the emotional validation of the success without ever having to go through the trials and tribulations of actually learning what it's like to get there. What I would say for that is don't have, I'm about to tell some Zoomers some terrible shit. Don't have shame, okay? Don't have shame when it comes to being embarrassing in public. Don't have shame when it comes to committing cringe in public. Don't kill the part of you that is cringe. Kill the part of you that cringes, okay? The point being that, like, there's probably a few dozen to a few hundred people who actually hate me, who do not like me. They're like, fuck that guy. Every time he opens his mouth, it's like it's like nails on a chalkboard. Fuck those people. Fuck them in their stupid ass. If they had balls, they would come on here. And so that's kind of where, for me, maybe you don't take it this way, I'm naturally combative as like a Irish person who was raised in a combative family that likes fighting about politics and likes arguing and likes all that kind of stuff. So for me, the fight is not the problem. It's actually some of the most enjoyable shit you'll do. But you have to have the fight in order to reach the solution, and the solution is what's important. The fight is like... I don't know. It's like the fucking chocolate shake, you know. But then the actual product that you get is the whipped cream and the cherry, and that's the proportions, you know. So if you don't enjoy one aspect of it, you're not going to get the other parts.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And likewise, like the final step where you actually accomplish whatever it is that you set out to do, or accomplish part of it enough that like educated you is like, so uneducated me thought that this was the goal and this is what I would accomplish. Educated me set a new bar, and that bar is really, really high, and I've accomplished everything to do it. Like getting to that point just takes so much. And you know what? To be real with you, I just think a lot of people, if we push them into a reality where they actually try and they actually do stuff, they don't want to do it. It will make them miserable. It's not fun. Like, I think a lot of people actually will just not get involved in politics because it's not something that is going to be fun for them. It's not something they're going to enjoy doing. And it's not something that, like, even in a universe where they do all the steps and they actually fail all the time, they're an unhappy person because they're pushing themselves to do something that maybe they're not really interested in. Like, they should maybe put their efforts into doing something else and failing at that. I think realizing that as quick as possible is what their goal should be.
No.
You don't think so?
because you're viewing this from a individualist lens, and I'm viewing this from a collective matrix manipulative Borg lens. Okay, so I'm the fucking robots in the Matrix. Okay, I'm trying to keep them trapped in the Matrix, and the reason why is because they can be used as batteries. Okay, they can be used as batteries. There's so much energy, and there's so much money, and there's so much attention in this space, the Twitch, Twitter, YouTube politics space, that if you were to siphon off even 1% or 10%, 1% or 10% of the energy, and direct that in a positive direction, you could have a monumental impact. Now, on one hand, you can say the system's inefficient. 99 out of 100 people who participate in the Twitch politics space actually do nothing except for scream into the void on a day-to-day basis. But leveraging that 1% that actually will act and the money and time and attention of the other ones into an action, I think that can be powerful. And so, for instance, we can say that, like, we haven't achieved anything as a space, but the truth is, even if it was a guilt trip Hassan Piker raised like 300K for Ukraine. Even if it was an optics win, Vosh raised like $230,000 for Ukraine, and I think $230,000 for the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund. Even if it was something that fell apart, but I think fell apart valiantly, Destiny doing the canvassing efforts in Georgia and Nebraska, I think that is a valiant effort that shows you how inefficient these energy systems can be at transferring energy into worthwhile venture. But then the question for me isn't like, oh, well, we failed or we just did a couple of charity streams. On the whole, it doesn't really matter. The question is, how do we either become more efficient or how do we leverage those things into more efficient outputs? Like picking a community as a group and focusing on solely developing that one community, because that's the limitation of our money and resources and time and attention.
Okay, I can agree with that. I guess more of what I was talking about was like whatever people are dreaming in their head of the end goal that they want to work towards, whether that's like, dude, I want to be a stream that like is doing charity every fucking month, dude. I want to do a charity drive every month. I'm not going to do it like once or twice a year. And then I'm also going to, volunteer 30 hours a month to my local stuff. I'm going to get my community to volunteer a total of 1,000 hours a month. Like, what I'm saying is like, if they stick with their unrealistic expectations and break their bodies and their brains to do that, I don't think that's good. I don't think they're going to do that. But what you're saying, where like, we're working in an opportunistic way and we're looking at like, okay, what can be done right now, what has been done, and like what could be done better, and then figuring out like get in where you fit in and get these things to happen in whatever way or extent or frequency is actually possible when you push on it. That I think is worth advocating for sure. And that's what I think like is part of what I'm advocating for when I'm saying something like bring up your volunteer effort or something like that in an argument to have a social influence out there to get other people to consider doing it, or these other sorts of things, or like what you talked about where like Hassan Piker makes some major missteps in talking about this crisis and then as a kind of redemption thing has to do that charity drive, like it is the end result that I think is more important there. And I think that's worth advocating for sure.
Well, and I think we need to tell people what we're really asking for. So for instance, like setting very realistic goals. I think volunteer, even if you were broke, even if you're a college student, even if you're missing your bills, this, that, the other, I think you can find 3 hours a month. Okay, you can find 3 hours, because chances are you're doom scrolling on Twitter like 6 hours a day. Okay, so you can figure it the fuck out. And so what we're talking about is there's 167 hours in a week. There's 668 hours in a month, and 3 hours out of 668 hours is 0.4%. So can you take 0.4% of your life and dedicate it to something that you supposedly care about? And if you're unwilling to do that, do you really care about it? And I think that's the call out that we can do is, bitch, you got fucking 6 hours a goddamn day to doom scroll on fucking Twitter, but you don't have 3 hours a month to actually do something about it? Fuck you. And basically taking that and rubbing that in people's faces. And then I think there would be almost like charity exhaustion if Vosh was doing one monthly. Some people would like donate to the first few, and then after like the sixth one, they'd be like, listen, I gave $100 last time, I'm not doing it this month, like, so basically once a quarter, once every 6 months, something like that, if there's like a big event, I think that's sustainable. And even looking after community members, because I'm going to give people a heads up. This month, I'm taking my money. Okay. Last month was Ukraine. I need some money. All right. Money me a lot. Money me now. Money me a lot. So we're, I'm going to pay my editor because he's been working for me for the better part of a year and doesn't, he hasn't taken that much money. And then I'm going to pay myself because I don't want to do this for free forever. But next month, there's somebody that people might know from Twitter. His name is Mike Awesome. Okay, that's his handle. This guy has a terminal diagnosis for heart failure. He's only in his like late 20s, early 30s, and he loves fucking wrestling. Guess what we're doing next month? We're gonna raise him $1,000 or $2,000 in order to go to a fucking wrestling show. Okay.
Aww.
So in that, but that's the kind of shit where it's like, you don't have to have a monumental impact, right? But one guy gets to go to one fucking show before he dies, right? But is that important to him? Is that important to us as a community that we said like, hey, there's somebody who's silently suffering in the community who needs some help and needs to feel like people give a shit about him? That, you know, that's the kind of shit that we can do. And it's not fucking Hassan, Vosh, and Destiny could shit $1,500 into their fucking hand today and they wouldn't give a fuck. And there's probably community members of theirs that could shit $1,500 into their hands and they wouldn't give a fuck. But to this guy, it would be important. So why don't we start, you know, focusing on shit like that?
Yeah, and getting into the habit more of looking for those opportunities as individuals as well. Like if you're somebody who notices that like maybe the person across from you in your apartment complex has one problem or another, like they've stopped biking to work and now they're walking, and you ask them about it and it's like, oh, my bike got stolen, so I have to walk like, you know, 4 miles to work every day or something like that. Like how hard would it be for you to like scrounge together the money to like get a bike off of Craigslist and get it to, you know, like just looking for these things. Like I think Steven has talked about this in the past as well. Like if you're not the kind of person that's like holding doors for people or helping people when you can see that they need help and it'll take like a minute of your time, you know, in the day, then you should work on that instinct as a person. And I think the same applies here. Like if you see that like, I think the guys at work could probably all put together $5 or $6 to like make something good happen for somebody else who's on the team, then like that's the kind of creative thinking and the like opportunistic lens that I think people need to be looking through, because we all have some kind of power we can exert. We all have a little bit more than somebody else in one regard or another. And it doesn't always have to be money. It could be like, oh, I have a bike that's in the closet and I'm a fat fuck and I don't use it. Like, why don't I just give it to this dude? It's better there than in my closet, right? Like just little things like that. I think that's a habit we got to get into.
Yes. So you asked, I said this story a couple of times on stream and I'll continue to repeat it, but there was like a young man, it's a parable, right? So young man, he's walking on the beach and there's a bunch of starfish that have washed up. And they're dying out in the sun. They're drying out to death or whatever. And he's like frantically running back and forth, picking up the starfish, throwing them back into the ocean. And then an old man, you know, walks by and he says, you know, there's thousands of them. You know, what you're doing doesn't matter. You know, you might as well stop. And then the young man, undeterred, picks up another starfish, throws it into the ocean, and says it mattered to that one. And that's the attitude that I think is missing from this very, like, I know this might be a little dry and maybe this isn't like the sexiest conversation for everybody in the world. They just want to hear about how you and Steven are on the verge of not being best friends anymore, and how, you know, Steven screamed the N-word in front of a bunch of black people in Atlanta or some shit. Like, that's what they really want to hear, right? But the truth is that, like, leveraging that negative attention into the positive attention of, hey, motherfuckers, like, even if you can't save all of the metaphorical starfish, you can do something that matters, is the kind of hopium that we need. Not because from an existentialist, nihilistic, cosmic, whatever perspective that we're correct, because I don't know if there's a fucking afterlife. I don't know if there's a God. I don't know if there's judgment. I don't know if there's any of that shit. But what does it do for you as the person who does the right thing, and what does it do for the person that you help? And the answer is it makes your life more tolerable, it makes it happier, it makes it better, it makes it all that kind of stuff. And if it's something simple that requires almost no energy from you, why the fuck not? Particularly if you have that emotional impact on yourself and the other person.
Yeah. And something that plagues, like, I don't know, I guess like civilized society or like high level society or whatever the heck we want to call it, like, is nihilism. It's this like this call of the void kind of feeling that there's no purpose to anything. I think the more light you shine into that dark space and the more floor in front of you can see and the more things you could see in the dark, the less you do feel like it's an endless abyss. And you only need to see like 0.2% of it or something. You don't need to see the whole abyss. You don't need to see the solutions to every single problem that exists anywhere. But when you see some solutions to some of the things in your life and you see progress to make things better, it makes the bigger pill of larger problems that you can't really fix a little bit easier to swallow. And so I think that the mistake a lot of people make when they're overwhelmed by that, especially when you're young and you're getting out of maybe high school and you're figuring out college and you're confronted with real adult stuff, is like, damn, I'm really overwhelmed. Fuck, I'm just not going to do anything because any little thing I do is insignificant, not worth it, and whatever. I think that sucks. The real instinct there and the real thing you need to learn how to do more of is like, all right, I'm going to start in this corner and I'm going to clean it up and then I'll work from there. Like if you walk into your room one day and you're like, God, I'm a fucking mess. I'm a slob. This place is fucking dirty, to get to maybe a Jordan Peterson meme. Like, all right, then you just start in the corner. Let's start with that. All right, let's get all the clothes. And then once the clothes are all done, holy fuck, that was a lot of clothes. That's actually a good chunk of what's in here. All right, let's do all the trash. I just have to throw that in the bags. Wow, that was a lot of the mess was trash. And like, it could still be that you have 80% of a mess left in that room, but seeing that 20% is accomplishable means that you feel a lot less bad about the whole problem. All of a sudden, you see the steps forward to fix it. You don't see just the problem itself, and that's not blinding you anymore.
Yeah, there's a saying, I'm in the corporate world, I'm in corporate sales, and I negotiate between insurance companies and private citizens who want to engage those insurance companies and construction companies. I basically talk to all those people. And there's a lot of people who have like a lot of trauma. They're working too hard. They don't have enough time for their family, this, that, the other. And they'll literally just share the shit with me because it's overflowing from them. And the phrase that I share with them is, how do you eat an elephant? So, Book, how do you eat an elephant?
One piece at a time.
There you go. One bite at a time. And I'm not kidding. So like when life is overwhelming, when you're in a corner, when you don't feel like you have control, when you don't have this, when you don't have that, what's the next step that you can take that's incremental to get towards your goal? And that's the only way that you're ever going to make any progress. And when it comes to, this is my anti-leftist shit, a lot of leftoids will be like, Connor, you believe in liberalism and equal rights and you don't hate the gays or the blacks or the transes. You must be a leftist. Or, hey, you actually want some redistributive economics to help people who are in a bad position. You must be a leftist, because these are all leftist positions, or lefty positions. The reason why I say no and fuck you is because of the learned helplessness that seems to be like endemic on the left. I am perfectly okay with society saying, you've had a rough go, we're going to meet you halfway, and we're going to give you the tools to get you where you need to go. I am perfectly fine saying that, and as a matter of fact, I think we've lost that as a culture, and we need to relearn it. But what I won't accept is a bunch of fucking 30-year-old babies who are sitting on their fucking dicks, fucking crying about how their fucking God Emperor Bernie Sanders didn't make it into the rigged electoral system. And if we just had this leftist thinker in policy, or if we just had, revolutionary socialism, then I would be able to fucking play video games and jerk off all fucking day inside my rent-controlled apartment, while, somebody else, like automated robots, deal with power lines and sewer systems. Like, go fuck yourself. Your dream, even if it was possible, is 500 to 1,000 years away, and it's bad for you as a human being. So stop being a bitch, clean up the fucking corner of your goddamn room, and basically take one bite at a time and inventory your problems and go after them. And unfortunately, this has been like politicized, where that's a right-wing take, because as soon as you fucking say that shit, somebody's like, well, this is ableist. This is able shaming. My cousin has fucking Parkinson's and she can't fucking okay, your cousin, we will help. But you, the dickhead with an arm that works, fucking start lifting some shit, you fucking asshole. So yeah.
And like, you have to ignore them too. Like you said earlier as well, like if we're all on a bike and we're all riding past each other and we're in some death race through the mountains. Some people are going to have to go over a higher hill than you're going to have to go after. Some people at the start of the race had a bike with like a flat tire and they're fucked. I think it's like Squid Game, unfortunately, and you cannot be diverting a ton of your energy to look at these other people that are failing or aren't like, and that's another reason why I'm kind of moving away from the politics space and giving advice to people that are making the same like mistakes over and over and over again. Cause like every little bit of energy I'm spending on helping the person next to me is making my race harder, and it's making it more difficult to like push for the things that I want to fix. And you need to be way more selective with the issues you're choosing to focus on. Like if you find yourself just totally like taken by like the trans sports discussion or debate or whatever, I've seen some people on Reddit mention like, hey, I've spent a lot of time thinking about this thing and consuming content about this thing. It actually doesn't impact my life at all. A lot of the things that are being voted on are not things that are in my country. They're in states in a country that I don't even live in, that is on a different continent. And like, there are things I really care about in my community that I haven't even done the littlest bit of research about, that I would actually like to change, you know, that I could fix right now or do right now. You know, and it,
dude, I lost so much right-wing cred on neo-pronouns and fucking trans sports, dude. Because basically, okay, when it comes to neo-pronouns, okay, I'm gonna be real. Oh shit. So 97% of the population are gonna be he, him, or she, her. Okay, it's just the fucking way it is. Okay, that's 97% of the population, which means the majority of the fucking people don't give a shit. There's binary trans folk who are going to go by he, him, she, her, right? That's even more significant portion. Then there's some people who probably feel either ambivalent or hostile to gender categories, and they'll go by singular they, them. Okay, I don't give a fuck. There's an even smaller portion of people who are going to be going by bunny self, or fucking frog self, or some shit. I don't give a fuck. All right, if you're a cool person, I'll call you fucking frog self as best I can. I'm going to fuck it up, and I'm probably going to default to they, them. But you better have something else to offer as a human being besides your fucking like gender non-binary fucking categorization. Because if I find out that the most interesting part about you is that you identify your gender with a fucking frog, I'm not going to talk to you again. Okay? It's just not going to fucking happen. You better have more of a fucking personality than just being a fucking frog self gender. Okay? So anyways, that's number one out of the way. I'm liberal or libertarian. I don't think most people are going to fall into the non-binary category, and if they do, it'll be singular they, them, and I don't really give that much of a fuck. Because they're still human beings, right? So they're entitled to some level of dignity and respect. Then, even if they're a schizo, even if they're fucking crazy, they deserve some level of dignity and respect. Then when it comes to trans women in sports, okay, the combat sports, strength sports, we should follow the research. Okay, whatever the research says is if it's like, hey, there's a unfair advantage for people in this certain category, as a result we don't think they should participate on a professional level. Okay, whatever. Participate on the exhibition level, participate on the lower level or the lower tiers or whatever. But if there's like, I don't give a fuck if a trans woman plays fucking competitive badminton. Okay, I don't give a fuck. It has nothing to goddamn do with me. It has nothing to fucking do with shit. Like, what is she going to win? Like a fucking $3,000 goddamn cash prize for fucking competitive level badminton? I don't fucking care. And considering there are so many more things to worry about, like, I don't know, environmentalism, demographic collapse, military, like wars, international capitalism, like the future sustainability of the planet. There are so many more things to fucking give a shit about than fucking trans women in sports. And I actually tweeted that out, which is, I think, why I lost a lot of credit. I was like, as a conservative, I care deeply about women's sports. Weren't we trying to ban women from fucking playing sports in the first place? Why the fuck do we give a shit about women's sports?
That's got to be some
trying to get you in trouble, book.
Yeah, I'm not saying a damn thing, bro.
Trying to get you in trouble, book. Come on. Yeah.
I'm on my character
shouldn't play sports. Come on.
I'm on my careful arc, dude. Steven's got me on that careful
All right, well,
arc.
let me see if I can get you off the careful arc for a little bit. Let me project, and then we can get into some toxic positivity in a second. But let me project for a second. When were you sober when you said Destiny hadn't made good content in a couple of years? Or were you drinking, or were you?
I think I was like 240s in, but I don't think that excuses me necessarily. And nobody.
It doesn't. Okay, it doesn't. But from being somewhat familiar with your content and somewhat familiar with his content, would you say that came from a real place of frustration where the debate scene on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube politics was just, in your view, a non-productive circle jerk?
I don't
like
know.
where did that come from?
Just that I don't enjoy watching a lot of his stuff in most moods that I'm in. Like, because like when you have to do it as a job, it's a lot less fun. I think in an alternate reality where I never did streaming, I probably would still like a bunch of the stuff that he's putting out. It's just like, it's hard to watch because a lot of the time it's for work. And when it's for work and I have to go line by line, or I have to like deal with it in that way, it becomes a lot less fun to engage with his content. And beyond that,
have you ever thought about maybe your, like I know you were saying that you wanted to be more prepared, but have you ever thought that, so for instance, for me, I fire on the webcam, I shoot off the cuff. If somebody takes issue with it, I basically invite them on, and then we fight it out, and then we fucking bro hug it, or Stacy hug it. So that's kind of the game plan, and it's a lot more efficient from an emotional energy standpoint because I don't have that much prep. I can share my opinion. If my opinion is wrong, people can challenge me. And then once they challenge me, if we agree, we agree. And if we disagree, at least we fought it out. So that's kind of my question is, have you ever considered I think I've heard you waffle between being underprepared and overprepared. And have you ever considered just kind of like being open to follow-up convos and follow-up debates and follow-up conversations as a matter of practice?
I have considered it, but they're not fun to do. It is yet another step that's like not fun. I actually find it to be less like stressful to just like prep and like come up and do my like essay writing process, but for these videos, than to know that I have to like, okay, so like now I really need to know my stuff, because not only am I giving an opinion on the internet, but I'm gonna like fight somebody whose entire purpose is to like basically try and demean whatever negative opinions I have about them, use any mistakes that I make against me. And it's like I'm in this like martial arts contest with another person verbally. That's even less fun, especially when it's on a topic that I didn't really care about in the first place. So that's more or less why that seems like an even less fun scenario for me.
You and I are fundamentally different people.
Probably.
I legitimately, I enjoy the martial arts concept. I enjoy the fight. I enjoy the back and forth. I don't even mind being wrong. And also, for the DGG fanboys who are watching who don't like me standing booksmarts to Steven or my criticisms of Steven or this, that, the other, you're a fucking pussy and you can come on the show sometime. Because this is the thing. This is seriously what my frustration is. People will be so fucking brazen in the comments. They'll be like, they missed this point and they don't understand this, and burp, 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 burp. And I'll literally just like go into the comment and I'll be like, what did I miss? And then they restate my position to me. And I'm like, fuck you. Like you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. You weren't listening to me. Your reading or listening comprehension is dog shit, and you can go fuck yourself. And so that the element of combativeness, for me, I enjoy it. And I like taking a position that I feel like is correct, that I can justify. And if somebody comes up with a perspective that I didn't think about, or that I have a blind spot in, or that I'm just dead wrong on, I view that as an opportunity to grow from being incorrect rather than like, oh, I had some kind of like massive moral failing in public. The combat leads to the solution because I don't know everything. I just think I have an okay perspective rooted in my belief system. And so it's not about being right on the first go. It's about being right over time as you continue to combat your perspective against people who disagree with you.
So I try not to talk about this stuff too much because I don't want to get myself in trouble. I'm trying to be careful, Counterpoints.
Do it.
But here's
It's what the people are here for.
Here's the thing. Like, okay, like multi-part thing. So number one, like I pride myself on like, dude, if you've proven me wrong, if you show me a quote and I got the fucking quote wrong, or if I said some shit that's like hyperbolic and I don't believe in it, I don't have a problem with just saying like, okay, well, no, clearly I don't think in my sober brain that you haven't had good content in 2 years or whatever. I can pick some videos that I enjoyed and that I would rewatch and whatever. The problem though is on this website and with the way that it works and probably the way that the internet or people in general work, if you admit you're wrong on something and you get the thing wrong, especially if you do 3 things wrong in a row, the people will perceive you in a particular way that makes existing in these spaces far more difficult. So I feel like my willingness to be like, oh yeah, I got that fucking fundamental thing wrong, my bad, I'm changing this and whatever, makes people think I'm Weasley, makes people think I'm snaky, makes people think that I have 2 opinions, one that I bring on when I admit that I'm wrong on something and a secret one that is actually what I said the first time. And that makes it very difficult to exist. It makes it so difficult to exist in these spaces that it makes me not want to engage in the opinion giving in the first place and to just do stuff about things I enjoy and not engage in arguments about the things that I enjoy, not get into some big debate about something where like the outcomes for me because of the way that I play the game always are going to get me in trouble and always are going to make people dislike me in these spaces, you know? And that's kind of my personal problem.
Have you ever tried calling these people pussies?
I don't think that fixes it. That doesn't make me feel any better.
It doesn't? Oh,
no,
man.
not at all.
Well, okay, so this would be this is what I've noticed, at least from my combative nature. So I was raised like super Christian, super hardcore, turn the other cheek, assume everybody has something positive to say, respect your elders, this, that, the other. And I try to carry that morality with me where the fight is the fight. And we can have visceral disagreements, but once we're done with the disagreements or we reach a solution, it's done. Okay. You're reset to whatever value of human being, like prior to me knowing who you are, you have a certain value as a human being, right? You're just inherently, you're one of God's creatures. Okay. You're one of the interesting biomechanical constructs of this world, and you have inherent worth just by existing. Once we're in a fight, you know, fuck you, you still retain that value, but we're going to have a fight between us as people who disagree. And then once we reach the resolution of that disagreement, we kind of return to that state of nature where you have your inherent value, I have my inherent value, and we can kind of continue on as, you know, brothers or sisters, you know, in life. So for me, the conflict is necessary. And also when you start with that like respectful beginning of like, regardless of whatever you say to me for the next like hour, you're still a human being with some level of dignity inherent to you. And after that, even if we have a visceral disagreement where we're calling each other pieces of shit, you still have that. And I treat you that way in our personal interactions. That slows down a lot of the boiling, flaring tempers that these people have. And also, I feel like it's really funny seeing somebody being ugly and gross and shitty and mean, and then you call them out on that, and they either immediately back it down, or in a personal conversation, they're just like, oh, well, this is what I thought, and now I have new information, and I don't think that anymore. They walk it back before you even say anything, because a person-to-person, face-to-face voice interaction is a lot more different than a text interaction in a comment section that they don't even think that you're going to read. And so that's where I'm saying there's a human element that you might not enjoy, but I think you're kind of missing out on, because it sucks to always be on the defensive, to always be having people criticizing you, to always feel like you're in the wrong no matter what you do. And that can kind of put you in a really negative mind space. Whereas if you think that you're fundamentally correct, or if you have more to the formula that these people aren't considering, fighting people based off of those perspectives can be emotionally cathartic for you as an individual, or at least it's emotionally cathartic for me.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's like emotionally cathartic a lot of the time. And not everybody is worth it. So, because it takes a toll on me, and it costs energy, and it costs time, and it costs, it's mostly emotional resources, honestly. Like, I have anxiety, I get depressed. If I'm spending all my time responding to Reddit posts about how awful I am and consuming that, and that takes up a solid chunk of my day, which it would if, for instance, I responded to every single person that said something mean about me following the Steven thing, it has such a drastic impact on my life that those people are not worth it. Steven is worth it. And whether he believes me saying that or not, it's whatever. Steven is worth it. If Steven was upset by something I said, I'm okay with going and getting, poop on my face, talking with Steven about stuff. That's fine. But these randoms on the internet are most certainly not. And, there's more I wish I could say, and more I wish I could be honest about with, engaging with Steven and the repercussions of that, because if it goes wrong at all, if he's in the wrong mood at all, if I have a poor performance at all, these are things that have drastic consequences with all those people who are not worth the time and energy to try and correct their opinions about me. And so if I'm not willing to engage with every single one of these random people on the internet, then I need to be more considerate about what are the things that I'm putting out, what are the conversations I'm having, and be real about what the consequences of those things are. So, at least that's my personal situation.
Okay, then I'll be a little bit different than that. The I don't have Reddit. I don't. I think that the way that I think the way that it works for me as far as levels of engagement, Twitter, because it's fun and I shitpost on there and it's not mostly my content, it's mostly memes and shit, and DMs, I'll respond. Discord, I'll respond. Emails, I'll respond. Particularly if it's professional or if it's about a topic that is ongoing right now, we'll talk. But I'm not going to go out of my way for criticism. I'll let the criticism come to me, where somebody has to be passionate enough to reach out to me in order to share the criticism with me. And then I'll try to engage with that good faith. If it's good faith, awesome. If it's not good faith, I'll disengage and block, because I don't have time for that shit. So for me, that is very efficient from an emotional perspective. And then here's the thing that I would say was frustrating, particularly with the conversation that I had with him about you, was he was like, I don't care about this perspective. Number one, motherfucker, you're not God. You're a guy with a webcam who plays video games every fucking day. And just because you're the fucking kingmaker of Twitch or YouTube or whatever doesn't mean that I don't think it's important. Okay? And I'm a human being who has a decent chunk of experience, and I care about the shit that I'm talking about. And if you're not talking to me, then you're going to be fucking dying to the same goddamn Elden Ring boss for the next fucking 13 hours, and then talking to another fucking 30 people who have an IQ 20% less than me. I care about this. So I'm going to make you care about it, basically, is my perspective. And then for DGG, who are like, hey, Connor takes too long to explain things. Number one, I'm verbose. That's fine. I like talking a lot. Number two, you literally listen to a motherfucker 8 hours a goddamn day talk. I can have 2 minutes of your fucking time, you stupid fucking cunts. Okay? See, now for me, if I saw a comment that was like, Connor talks for too long in order to explain simple comments, by me calling them stupid cunts, I actually have a certain level of emotional catharsis. But if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying that you don't experience that emotional catharsis, and to you it's stressful to have that combat in the first place.
If it was like a private conversation, it'd be very different. Like you have to like weigh these things out. Like if that was a private conversation I had with Steven and I was like, oh, okay, so he's upset about this, he's upset about this, I can change and I can do these things to try and fix that. This was fucked, and like Supreme says this is fucked, and when I check with my friends afterwards, these are the things I need to fix and these are my problems, and this is highlighted. That's all incredibly productive. That's all totally worth it. The problem is when like that conversation comes along with like, oh, now I can't really use Reddit for a while. Now I'm going to have to like monitor people in my chat that come and say rude things. Now, there's consequences. And I don't care about these other ones too much, but they are worthy of consideration. Like drops in subscribers, lots of mean comments on every YouTube video I post that have nothing to do with whatever it is that the video is about. Like it invades all of the spaces where like I get positive energy and good feelings from, and it ruins like a lot of other stuff that I'm trying to do. And that's kind of the feels bad man about it. There's a lot to be gained from having that conversation personally, and it helps me grow. But at the expense of, there's an extra added expense having it in front of like thousands of people, and having that like over and over and over again is like wearing on me. And I am getting better. I think like each time I'm doing it, I'm learning new stuff, I'm fixing new things, I'm addressing new problems. But that's not the narrative anybody else has in their brain. That's not the experience that they have, and it, and it just sucks.
Well, I'll share this so we're not treading over old ground. I've watched Booksmart streams while working if it's a slow day, and basically what I would say, so there's two kinds of content that I appreciate from yours that I think is fun. One, what I commented in your YouTube channel, I was like, I like watching suffering Booksmarts. The reason why is because during a debate review, if it was a bad debate and you're pointing out, hey, here's all these issues of communication that these people aren't addressing. Here's the point that this person is bringing up that is failing to be addressed. Here's the communicative strategy that's at an impasse, this, that, the other. Not only is that informative from like a rhetorical standpoint of how do I modify my rhetoric in order to communicate with people better, but also it's fun to share my frustration with the conversation with another person. So there's a parasocial emotional catharsis of seeing someone being as frustrated with the conversation as I am. So that's fun for the longer things. And then as the stream goes on, I can tell you get tired and a little bit more slap happy and shit talky. And that's fun for me too, because the professional Booksmart, mask that's on there at the original where it's like, I'm going line by line and I'm following my notes and I'm doing this, that starts to slip. And since it slips, that's fun because I can see like this shit talky, funny, dare I say it, like impy Booksmarts that likes to poke and prod a little bit. Okay. So that's number one. Number two is the edited debate reviews, which are also fun because I feel like you can get the meat of the potatoes and the funnier jokes in a condensed format. So you don't have to hang out the whole time. And then that's just fun because it feels like it's the meat and the potatoes of the stream without being the whole stream. So that's all valuable. And I wish that you felt a little bit more fraternity with the people who share your frustration, and that like I'm not telling you how to feel. You feel the way that you fucking feel. But a lot of people, your feelings are valid, Book. That's what I told Destiny. Okay, your feelings are valid. So the problem or whatever with I see you stepping away from the space, you do what you're going to do, right? You got to do what's healthy for you. But the problem with you stepping away from the space is there's a certain amount of schizoid, furious, autist posting in this space that goes unchecked by sober, rational individuals. And as bad as it is for the sober, rational individuals to engage with the space, when they leave, the space devolves. And that's part of the problem.
Yeah. It is, but like, I don't know. This is like forcing people to stay in a country that's fucked for like larger reasons beyond their control. Like if they get an education, they leave that country and they go someplace where like they can live a better life. Like, I don't know if we want to make those people go back to the fucked up country. Like, I don't know. That's what it feels like, at least to me. Like, I don't know. it's painful to be in this space and constantly say the same stuff over and over again. And like, despite all of that, all it takes is one like bad conversation with Steven. And now nobody cares about the larger context of anything that I said, or not nobody, but you know, like now there's a sizable, like audible portion of people that just think this other thing, and then they impact everybody else. And then it's like, okay, then what am I doing? If that's all it takes, and like, then this is done, then like, I don't know. It's not a very satisfying
perspective.
space.
Well, as a point of satisfaction for me, perspective philosophy says, come on, man, schizoid autism posting, you're just attacking me personally now. So like, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is what I'm saying is there are fun, interesting, smart people. You know, Perspective's a good dude. You know, Vosh and Destiny are entertaining, at least, even if you hate their guts. You know, there's a lot of talented creators here. There's a lot of talented and passionate people. And so so like obviously I think there's a recalibration that everybody has to do, and I'm not trying to act more experienced than I am, but obviously the frustration is swimming in another creator's wake, where you feel like you get, you know, you do a debate with Vosh and you get 500 subs, or you do a debate with Destiny and you get 500 subs, and you do a debate with this person, that person, the other, and you keep growing through your exposure. But then you ask that question, you know, are these people here for me, or are they here to hate watch me? Or are they here to counterbalance their perspective? And at what point do I have an organic following of my own? And that's a tough question to answer, particularly when you're creating content that doesn't necessarily appeal to those original audiences, and you know that you're different. So for instance, I'm in a little bit of a war right now with I had an explosion recently from Warhammer content reacting, like, you know, just breaking down and whatever. And so what ended up happening was Games Workshop said, hey, this isn't sufficiently transformative. If you keep doing the work the way that you're doing it, we're going to take action. And so I did a transformative commentary breakdown where literally 90% of it is just commentary. And I have a bunch of people who are like, oh, I can't pirate Games Workshop content off of your channel anymore. Fuck you, I'm out. And I'm like, fuck you, bitch. I didn't want you here in the first place. I didn't want you're skipping my commentary in order to fucking just pirate a show that you could pay $5 a month for. Go fuck yourself. And so that's where I think that I might lose a chunk. You know, I might lose a chunk of subs based off of going in the new direction, but I wouldn't want those people anyways. Right? Like, I wouldn't want people who just want to use me as a vehicle to pirate somebody else's content. I would want people who are as passionate about the hobby as I am, who enjoy having insight that they otherwise might not have considered. Those are the people that I'm going for. So even if metrically I take a hit, long-term strategy, long-term my health, long-term the channel's health, long-term their health, it's better to have the fight.
But like, this doesn't consider the opportunity cost of investing in that space or doing that content, right? Like, if there's other kinds of content you could do that'd be better for your life or your finances or whatever else, like that's the variable I'm not seeing like expressed there, right?
Yeah, I love fighting. Like I do this shit for free, man. Like that's the problem. Actually, this is a funny and important difference between, maybe not a difference, but it's an important point, is I would do this for free. I would do this as a hobby. I would do this for shits and giggles. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's have a smell, all right?
But like,
So that's
IRL,
what would you do?
or other stuff that I'm doing now, that definitely I would do for fun. That's why, like, I want to move to that because it's easier to like, oh, okay, there are some people that are in here that are talking shit about me for some other shit that I did during the week. I don't care because I'm here and I'm having fun, and this isn't about like making a ton of money. This isn't about like, I don't know, doing some community service to a community that I don't even feel that close to. You know, this is just about doing something that I enjoy, that I genuinely enjoy, and it attracts the right people. Because the thing is, if I have a community full of people that like all this politics shit, I don't even fucking watch it my own time because I think a lot of it's lame and these people are lost and whatever. Like, it's just weird because we're going to constantly hit that wall where it's like, oh yeah, Booksmarts doesn't like any of this shit that we're watching. He's not like Relly just rated. Relly is somebody who genuinely likes watching all this stuff. Chud is somebody who genuinely likes watching all this stuff. You are somebody who genuinely likes fighting. I'm not that. Like, I like doing my traveling. I like talking with people, talking their ears off. I like, I like anime. I like other stuff. And every moment that I spend doing this thing, I can't do those other things. And at some point when I look around at my life and it falls apart because I had a bad conversation or something like that, or my mental is constantly fucking thrown into the gutter like every 2 weeks because of some drama or something, like, why am I doing this? You know, like as a community service thing to a community that doesn't really respect me for what I'm doing in the first place. Like, I don't know. It's tough to keep going.
Yeah. So, and that's fine. I feel ourselves, maybe going over the same themes, but basically what I would say is what would you, this is the original motivation. So this is kind of what I'm pushing at. The original motivation that I understand it as you saw it is there was a bunch of like really passionate people who had perspectives on things and they were poor at communicating them. So as a result, you wanted to share your talent for communication so they could communicate better and have more productive conversations. If I understand your original goal, that was your original goal. What would the community of Twitch or Twitter politics look like with if everybody could take the skills that you have and you could transfer them into their brains, what would it look like? For me, it wouldn't look like a place that was free from conflict where people understood each other better and actually reached productive solutions. It would be a place where people could do conflict better, where instead of basically having like a 2-hour conversation where they just insult each other, they could have a 2-hour conversation of like, this is the philosophical or academic underpinning of my argument. This is why I believe what I believe. I understand what you believe, but here's why you're wrong. And then the other person would be able to do the exact same thing in the opposite direction. I think that's what the area or what Twitch politics could be if you had somehow a instantaneous and miraculous impact on the space. So the question is, that service is valuable, okay? The ability to have better arguments and to be able to have better fights, because whoever weaponizes these skill sets to the maximum degree is the side that will probably be more persuasive and prevail. So the question is, do you have a moral dog in the fight? Do you care about who wins this battle? Do you value these services similar to your market? And is there some exterior goal that you have where you would like the liberals or the progressives or the socialists or the communists or the conservatives or the libertarians to do better? Or is this kind of like an in general thing where you're just like, I feel like you guys could benefit from this persuasive style? Because that's the thing, is like, you have a talent, you have a market, but you don't care how that market develops because you don't give a shit about it. But could it be impactful and could it be worth your while? And what would that look like?
I mean, there's a lot of questions in there, so I don't know like what piece of that to bite off. That's an elephant, and I don't know if I want to start the foot or the ass or where.
What would a ideal Twitch or Twitter politics space look like if everybody had downloaded your skill sets into their brain? What would that space look like, regardless of what you want it to look like? And then what would you want it to look like?
Well, here's a huge problema, okay? Is like, if I had those levers and I was changing things in people's brain, 80 to 90% of my time spent changing the levers would be on the audience and it wouldn't be on the streamers. Because I've learned over time, the audience is the reason why we do blood sports and dumb bullshit. It's the audience. The audience is the whole reason. We have people like Freems. We have people like Hitch or like these other people that are, or even like you, that are, they really, really want to do real life stuff. They're trying to do real life stuff. They're trying and failing and stumbling and accomplishing and sharing that with the world. And people don't give a fuck about that. People don't give a fuck about that. They give a fuck about blood sports. They give a fuck about watching people lose. And the thing with watching people lose in the best way possible is you got to have really good losers. And you got to have really good slayers of those losers. And the problem is, like, the slayers of the losers don't get better when the losers get more losery. It doesn't work like that. The losers have to be stronger. It has to be more of a challenge. But the audience doesn't really encourage that because they never bring up people who are, like, capable of that. There are so many people in this space that I feel like are competent, they're well spoken, they're educated, and they don't succeed. And they face a grinding wheel of the audience, of people responding to them, of chat members wasting their time, of other shitty streamers that they have to deal with because people watch panels or people like the people who are outspokenly fucking stupid or whatever. So, like, the sad thing is it's a lot of the viewers that I would want to change to make the space better, but I can't really change the viewers very well. I can't really talk to all I can do is talk to my community, and that's why I'm focusing on my community. And I'll just encourage them to do more stuff that they like. And I think a lot of them will realize what they like is not this bullshit on the internet. It's going to be other things. And I just want them to go do their other stuff.
Well, but you see how that's a self-defeating prophecy, right? Where you're literally encouraging people to engage with their hobbies rather than the toxic hobby that brought you all together. Also, like if you can build a community based off of like positive engagement with things that actually make you happy, awesome. And I hope that happens. The thing that I would say is there's a unrealistic expectation of what humans are capable of from your perspective, and I think you would be better off focusing on the people who are salvageable. That's what I try to do. I don't try to get a zebra to change its stripes. Basically I accept people as they are and for what they can give me and give the space. What I mean by that is if there's a panel audience, 90% of the panel audience there is for the blood. Okay. So if I see an opportunity, like I try to be the good faith guy, but if I see an opportunity where somebody's kind of being a dick and I can rip their throat out, I'm going to do it because that's it's part of the game. And if they're being a dick, fuck them. Who gives a shit? There's enough assholes on this platform. There's plenty of people to be mean to. But that being said, can I also give them information that they might not have considered, perspectives they might not have considered, maybe a sober dose of reality, maybe a little bit of Jordan Peterson Jungian self-help bullshit, maybe a little bit of positivity that they weren't otherwise exposed to? And the answer is yes. And 9 out of 10 people are going to stay the toxic assholes that they were the day before. 1 out of 10 people might get better. And can you attract those 1 out of 10 people? Because they're there for the, let's say it was literally like bacon candied. It's just like candied bacon. That's what they were eating before. Okay. But I can get them a candied bacon Brussels sprout where the bacon is wrapped around a vegetable. And it's still fucking candied bacon. They think they're getting away with murder because they're still eating candied bacon, but I snuck a fucking vegetable in there. And that's my goal, is to try to sneak in the vegetables, because the truth is that this entire generation is completely fucked. And until we learn to communicate, fight better, deal with our issues, unfortunately, you as a relatively sober, healthy, emotional human being are doing something that I've seen a lot of other people do, which is withdraw from the space. They say it's not worth it. Fuck these people. I'm out. I'm gonna go do my own thing. Whereas, what I think that does is, if you look at the popularity of people who withdraw from the space versus the people who remain in the space, what continues to happen is the nefarious actors who don't have anything good to say, they continue to dominate. And so that's the question is the control of the viewership and habits of 500,000 to 3 million people worthwhile or not? For you, it sounds like you don't even want that control in the first place. You don't even want that influence in the first place. You just want to improve the space for better communication, whereas I do want the control. I do want people to go out into their communities. I do want people to fundraise. I do want people to actually put their money where their mouth is. I do want people to be called out for hypocrisy. And our current leaders in this space fight just to fight. And that's it. And that's not enough. It's not enough for 500,000 to 3 million people to live like that.
You say that, but the problem is nobody thus far has gotten that massive amount of power by advocating for the things that we're advocating for. And I think at some point you have to accept that that is the reality, that this space, the people who are going to succeed rapidly in the long term, at whatever interval you're talking about, are the ones who are doing the opposite of what we're advocating for. And at some point you gotta look around the room and go, fuck, I'm in the wrong building, my bad. Like this isn't the place to accumulate this power or influence or whatever you're talking about. And sure, maybe in some hypothetical reality, you put a ton of time in and you convert individually every single person in that room and you go on a holy crusade of fixing the entire space. But that's not a Jesus figure that like I would want to be or I would want to live as. I don't think it's a position that I would advocate anybody else do either. I think you should just go do something else if that's what you want to do, because I don't think this is a space for that. Honestly,
I'm good with it. I think we kind of agree, because I think 90% of the people are exactly the way that you described them. I don't think that they want to change. I think that they want to doom scroll on Twitter 6 to 7 hours a day while they work their shitty, mediocre job, listen to the same 3 creators over and over again, over the drama of the week. They don't actually want to consider the politics. They just want to be in a binary fight that allows them to shit on other political tribal communities. And they want to be able to repeat talking points from their favorite creators so they can shit on other political tribal communities. I think that's 90% of people. I do think, though, that there's probably 1 to 2% of people who are involved in these tribal communities who are genuinely good people who think that their vision, if implemented, would be best for the world. And I think there's probably another 8 to 10 people who are not only persuadable, but have gifts that are available to the world. So whether that's, volunteering time, whether that's a little bit of money, whether that's basically something that they care about. I'm a big dog person. So it's Twitch and Twitter. Twitch and Twitter, unfortunately, is a bunch of fucking cat people. But at the same time, if you give a shit about animals, then who's to say that your 3 hours a month can't be at like an animal shelter or something like that? And that kind of reciprocal relationship of giving back and having that positivity impact you and come back, and then kind of the convincing people from going from 0 to 1, as you said earlier. So that's all I'm trying to do. I don't give a fuck if people get to 100. I just want them to get to 1. Mm-hmm. And after that, that's kind of up to them. And my conversion rate it's not even positive, not even 50%. It's fucking 1% or 10%, So that's where I'm hoping my goals are realistic enough that the bar for here's the other thing, bud. The bar for success is the fucking floor. Okay? That's the other thing about this space that I think is so rife with opportunity, is the bar for success is literally make $3 million a fucking year and do 1 charity stream a year. That's the fucking bar. Okay, that's the moral standard that's currently being held in our community. So basically, if you got 1 person to do 1 positive thing with their fucking life, you're already beating a majority of the leaders in our space. So for me, I don't view that as, oh, this environment is so toxic it can never change. I view that as we don't have leaders. We don't have thoughtful people. We don't have there's a lot of squandered opportunity.
Sure. But it gets back to the thing where, like, maybe we could go more like parable route, because I know you like parables and stuff. Like, I think there's a parable of the sower in the Bible, and it talks about like throwing the seeds over all sorts of different kinds of land, and some parts of land are not ready to take the seed, and it's not going to grow. It's going to be like, it doesn't have the right dirt to put its roots in, and it'll get blown away by the wind. And in another, there's thorny brush there that'll block all the light and it won't grow. I think if you're just going to keep throwing seeds on a thorny pile of brush, and you're like, bro, every one in every 100 seed is like sprouting, that makes it worth it. I feel like what I'm trying to convince you to do is like, just look to the left, and there's like fertile soil right there. And like, I'm going to go look for a patch of fertile soil, because for the last 8 seasons, I've thrown seeds over a patch of thorns, and I'm not happy with having 1 in every 100 seeds sprout. And I think that my time and my energy is better spent traveling somewhere else and doing that.
Well, okay, but this is my question: is what is the fertile soil? Because, for instance, I have the same desire and need to engage with these ideas as everybody else does. So, if I was dictator for a day, I would literally be building walkable, high urban density housing, this, that, the other. I would be looking at like soil richness and figuring out how to make sustainable agriculture going forward. I would be looking at like environmental shit to see, is carbon capture real? What is the future of automation? What is the future of AI? What is the future of like all this stuff? From a security perspective, I am an advocate for American hegemony, and it makes me sad that liberalism, like a global capitalist Republican liberalism, is viewed with a dirty eye in these spaces, because it's been the dominant political force for the better part of a century, and it's done its fair share of moral horrors. But I think that if you historically contextualize that stuff against its competitors, then you can basically realize maybe not why these moral horrors were necessary, but why they're understandable. And so I think articulating these ideas, considering these ideas, encouraging young people to enjoy or like to participate in these ideas, and also looking for the opportunities within their own life to integrate these things, even if that's as simple as like community service or something like that. For me, this is where I should be, because these are the people who care about these ideas and who might be able to do some level of implementation like in their future lives. Maybe they could get solar panels or do community advertising, or they could buy an electric vehicle if they believe that it was a priority. They could reduce their waste. They could support the American military industrial complex. They could, like these are all things that I care about. So this is the fertile soil. And my question is, if there was a community that was more ready to go on the community action stuff, unfortunately, they're not the communities that I want to participate in. A majority of the communities that would be fertile soil would be religious communities. They would be churches. They would be mosques. They would be synagogues. And the truth is that those people don't need any help, because they're already doing what I want them to do. They're already volunteering. They're already they're already participating in their communities. They're already building families. They're already building wealth. They're already doing everything they need to do. Whereas there's these poor lost fucks over here in the Twitch and Twitter and YouTube community who are wasting their time in apartment complexes justifying how smoking a fucking quarter ounce of weed every day and jerking off to fucking OnlyFans is actually a good thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we've been doing a lot of religious parables. Jesus didn't come for the pious; he came for the sinners.
Yeah. But as I've said before, I don't want to be Jesus, dude. Like
come on, you look like him a little bit.
Yikes, that's not by design. It's just, that's not fun work. I just want to do the stuff that I like doing, like everybody else. Like you're doing stuff you like doing by being here. Riley's doing stuff he likes doing by being Chud, Destiny. Vosh is changing what he's doing because he doesn't like being wrong. I just want to do the stuff I like doing. This was never something I like doing. I like doing other stuff. And if I could build a community around me who listens to me around the stuff that I like doing, like watching anime or beat my meat to furries or whatever the fuck else it is that I like doing, I would just prefer that. I would much prefer that. That'd be a lot more fun.
Yeah, the do you know the funny thing is my pessimism is in I don't know where we should go from here, but my pessimism about are there other communities that could enjoy the things that you enjoy and as a result grow as a creator and get where you want to go financially and get where you want to go creatively and all that kind of stuff. The fucking funny thing about it is I've experienced like Warhammer 40,000 is the thing that I'm like super passionate about. I've probably experienced like 50 to 60% of my growth from engaging with Warhammer 40,000 content instead of the Twitch politics community. And it's actually, I was going to tell you, I don't know how large the jerk off to furry porn community is, but maybe it's big. I don't know. It'd be pretty big.
And it wouldn't matter because your success rate is just a ton more, like it's not the thorny brush. So like your percentage is better. And because the percentage is better, like you're talking about like hundreds of thousands of people that watch this space, like, yeah, but if none of them are like very susceptible to the message that I'm putting forward, then even if there is a community with like 1,000 active members, but like 20% of them are receptive, that's better than that small, tiny, less than 1% in the other place. And that's why, like, I think it's just better. And you have to set an example. Like, if you're the person advocating for people to go and do the stuff that they like to do and get involved in that, well, then why the fuck are you here? You don't like this? Why are you doing it? Why are you doing suffer streams? Like, there's an incongruence in the message and in the actions too that I feel like if anybody listens to me long enough, they'll tune into and then wonder about, like, well, then why are you choosing to do things that make you unhappy all the time? Why are you choosing to do
because
this?
Counterpoints is in chat and he loves watching Booksmart suffer.
Well, the answer from less charitable people is because he's a clout shark and because he wants a ton of money or whatever. And it's like, that's not even like what this accomplishes for me. If I wanted a ton of money, I would go be an essay writer and I would have such a little impact on the world doing that. And I would just go do that because I could make a ton more money doing that per hour and I could travel and I wouldn't have to worry about anything. How
much
that
per
I
hour
said.
Out of curiosity? I fancy myself a writer.
Like it depends on what you're doing in specific, but you're going to make like between 50 and 60 to like over $100 an hour. Easy. Just doing that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Dude, you need to hook me up with that shit. I want to quit my current job. But
like that's what I'm saying is like it's so frustrating to hear that shit all the time. And like I get over it, dude. Like, yeah, why am I here? Because like, they're giving the wrong answer, but I don't even know what the right answer is. What to help people with their communication, people that never take my advice on anything, or like people who are not charitable back to me, like, I don't know. You started very high up in the food chain. Okay, that's one of the things that I noticed. Just digging into this a little bit. What do you mean by high up in the food chain?
I mean that so I remember this, and you can correct me on it. Basically, what I remember is probably the first time that I heard you was mediating, I want to say, a debate between Destiny and Riley Grace Rochon, a long time ago.
Okay.
And basically, I also heard the consultation afterwards with Destiny, which I think you did like a few after action reports where he respected and valued your communicative insight because despite potentially winning rhetorically, at that time, I even remember him saying like, this is the Destiny, what was it? Like was it the aesthetics arc or was it the rhetoric arc? I fucking forget what it was, but he was interested in basically being canceled less and communicating more. And that happened probably for about 6 months, maybe a year. There was like a trend where he was like, what would Booksmarts say? What would Booksmarts do? What would this, that, the other? And so when I'm saying that you were starting up high in the food chain is there's plenty of other people who like, so for instance, I get approached by smaller creators all the time who are like, hey, I'm a 3 viewer Andy. How do I get started? How do I get where you go? That, and I give them my information. There's plenty of people who need to be developed as talent, but you, at least from my perspective, you were already consulting with one of the top talents in the space. Well, guess what? Top talents are fickle. and choosy, and they don't like criticism, because if they're getting criticism but they're succeeding anyways, then how valuable is the criticism? That's something that I encounter too. I get criticism all the fucking time, but if it's over some shit that I'm already succeeding on, fuck you, I don't need your opinion. So that's kind of like where we've kind of repeated this a few times, but basically I think you have a service to sell, but who's your market, and do you care about that market?
Probably not. So it's not worth the time.
All right. It's sad.
Well, it's sad for those
it.
people, but is it really sad? They don't want it. So it's like, whatever, dude. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I hope based off of this conversation, maybe a few people reach out and they're like, hey, I'm a fucking struggling fucking person. How do I communicate my shit better? But
well, here's the thing.
A lot of people
I do
like
it commissioned. That's fun. I'm happy to do the commissioned work, which I have done from the beginning, and I continue to do, where people will give me a debate and they'll be like, hey, I did this debate on what, I don't even care what side of the political aisle you're on. I don't care if you're like a diehard socialist. I don't care if you're like a transphobe conservative person. Like, if you felt like you didn't do a good job in a debate, people didn't understand you, you don't understand what the problems are. Well, if you're a transphobe and I understand the other half of the argument because I like trans people, like, okay, well, this is my opportunity to communicate to you why people disagree with these opinions that you're putting forward and how you can better speak to those people. And here's food for thought. Maybe consider changing those, because I'm going to give you some arguments that I don't even know what the counter argument would be for. And that's why I think a lot of people are going to be like, why the fuck do you even think this crazy thing, right? Same with the socialist people. Like, dude, if you don't have practical things people can vote on to have anything close to what you're talking about, you realize how hard it's going to be to have a conversation about anything. You need to like look at like, oh, I don't have any examples of these things that I'm talking about working. I can't find those things despite hours of research. Let's zoom out for a second. What is that? I love those conversations.
Well, then you need to sell yourself. This is a problem of marketing and strategy. That's what it is. So for instance, like I got an @ on Twitter the other day, and he was like, hey, he was he was like, hey, I'm writing for the DSA and we're trying to forward a fucking a bill to get money out of politics, and we're trying to beef up the language so it appeals to conservatives. And the first fucking sentence is like a pledge where it's like, I recognize that the number one problem facing our country today is that there's money in politics and the corrupt influence of lobbies on whatever. No fucking conservative is going to sign your goddamn bill because they don't believe that shit. They don't think that money in politics is the number one problem. They just think that it has undue influence that corrupts the way that things are implemented, and they would rather see other things implemented. So if you literally took that communicative phrasing and you said, there have been laws that have been passed in the past half decade to a decade that I think have been modified by monetary and financial interest, and I would like to see the will of the people better represented in our republic. You took the same outcome, which is financial regulation of the electoral system, and you put it in conservative motivated reasoning. And so that's what I'm saying is, if that gets you animated, people need that. But here's the other thing. People are fucking broke, dude, especially in this space. So offering like a consultative fee, like $20 an hour, $50 an hour. I don't know what your fucking rates are. But that's where I'm saying, like, a lot of the people who need help in this space, they don't have a lot of money.
I don't do this stuff for fun. I don't know. Like, I don't enjoy this. I don't enjoy telling a socialist person, like, crawling through my brain a way to explain to them why this is like a problem, or like talking to a transphobic person for like 2.5 hours about like how to change the way that they're talking to people and maybe rethink that position. Like, I don't enjoy any of that. So like, that's why, like, if it's paid for, I'll do it. But like, I'm at least like neutral to writing papers and stuff like that. That just seems like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm going to keep doing these to review things because they're what people want. And I'm improving the way that they can select what it is that they want me to like review. But if I find any success doing anything else, that's where I go. Like, if I find success doing IRL, I'm gonna do way more IRL because that's way more fun. If I find success doing anime reviews or talking to furry artists or a gazillion or doing interviews like this, like I'm gonna move towards things that are more fun because that's the compass everybody else in this space follows. And I think there's a reason for that, because I think it makes it easier to do a job that takes up such a sizable chunk of like your life. It is hours and hours and hours and tons of mental space of your life that is taken up by this thing. And it shouldn't be something that like hurts you all the time. And this stuff just like hurts me all the time. So, you know.
Well, try Warhammer 40,000 commentary. It's very lucrative.
I like watching that. I don't even know I don't even play that game or paint the figures or anything, but like I've caught myself for hours and hours listening to like 40K lore. So I don't know. It's attractive.
There you go.
Sure.
Buy a code. Okay. So buy a codex. Okay. Which is like the army descriptive book. Okay. Your name's Booksmarts. You must love reading books.
I don't.
Then you must love it. You got to love it. Your name's Booksmarts. So you read all of it, you write an essay, and then you just read it with a British accent into a microphone. You'll be a millionaire.
Okay. I'll try it.
All right. Well, I do feel us retreading old ground, and I don't want to poke at sore wounds, but basically my game plan would be to actually go fight, like by reading the comments from my recent like 40K transition and also talking to chat. I feel like we started out really positive and then we kind of got into the crux of the crisis of book. Was there any other subject that you wanted to touch on?
No, because I wanted to hear more about what it is you were doing with your Discord and the mutual aid and stuff like that. And then I figured out the extent to which you've been successful with it. And I think that's kind of like where we left that off at. If you want help with wrangling cats, I guess one thing I wanted to say that I didn't get to say is like, sometimes it can be better to, instead of asking for cats, ask for a cat wrangler. Like, you know, like if you need a leader who has the free time and whatever to wrangle cats, and that's a problem that you're running into, like the solution is that position. Like, hey, so we have a lot of people that are willing to do stuff, but are like super flaky and this, that, and the other thing. Is anybody willing to solve that problem for me? Can anybody talk to all these people in the Discord and be a community leader and like organize these folks? Because I don't have the time for it. And then you'll be my point of contact for these people and like mobilizing them, and you can give me feedback on that. I think that would be a better solution than wasting your hours of time, because you're the influencer, you're the marketer, you're the one getting people in the door. And I think the more that you focus on that, every hour you put into that only means better things for the cats that are further down the funnel. And you just need to find somebody else to take over this spot for you, so you could dedicate more time to what you're good at and like what your job is in that process. That I think that would be my advice there.
So I'll share this because I feel like I'm in an abusive relationship with my editor. So the original plan, because I wanted to see if this thing could even work, was to break 10K subs on YouTube. That was the goal. I just single-minded focus. Let's get past 10K subs, right? And so we got there. We got there relatively quick, like year and a half, year and 6 months, year and 8 months, something like that. And it was a combination of 40K and politics debates and all that kind of shit. And then we started monetizing. Well, what ended up happening was the monetization was so small. It's only a few $100. So I've just been, throwing my editor rev share of that, but it's small compared to the work that he actually does, right? So he does the thumbnails, he does the intros, he does the outros, he does all this kind of stuff. It's probably a few hours worth of work every single week. But then he's also a Discord mod, and he also he also does like all this other shit. Helps organize game night and helps do this and helps do that. Meanwhile, he's doing like, I don't know, something anybody else would be charging $50 an hour for $300 a month. You know what I'm saying? And the goal is to become expansive enough in order to be making that kind of money where it was all worth it because we did the investment, and his faith in the project sustains my faith in the project. But when I got fucking people in my comments who were like, I didn't like this kind of content. I don't like this thing. You fought with my parasocial dad and you did this and you did that. It's like, bitch, you're getting content for free. hours of it. Just fucking click the like button or dislike button. Click the dislike button. That's engagement. Leave a comment where it's like, hey, I fucking hated this, but here's a comment for the fucking algorithm. Help me help you, you sack of shit. And also help me pay my goddamn editor because I feel bad about it. So that's where sometimes the cat wrangler. I have a 40-hour week job. He has a 40-hour week job. He doesn't have a family yet, but he needs one. I have a family. And we're doing 20 hours a week. And people really, this is a fuck you to the audience, really don't appreciate the amount of work that goes into setting this shit up, getting it done, editing it, putting it up, researching things so you don't look like an asshole, and fighting your parasocial dads. They really don't appreciate how many hours actually go into that shit.
No, they don't. Not when you're trying to do it right, or the way that they advocate that creators do it. Why don't creators just research? Why don't they just make a YouTube channel? Like, because it's a bunch of hours of work, dude. And if they're live for fucking 30 hours or 40 hours a week, how much extra time do you think they have for this stuff? They goof off. They tell you about the video games they play and other stuff. Like, how many hours do you really think they have? But on that note with the cat wrangler, then maybe it's the cat wrangler who should be the person that sorts through who is the level of organization just below them. Like, one thing I hear, and I even saw it in my fucking chat, and it triggers the fuck out of me. You don't need a whole team to do blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, bro, you need as many people as it takes to accomplish the goals that you're trying to accomplish. If somebody wants to volunteer for that, then that's up to every individual along the steps of the process who decide to volunteer. So if your editor and community manager and whatever person is overwhelmed, well, congratulations. Now we need a new person because we're not able to accomplish the goals that we want to accomplish as a whole, as a community, as a whatever, with just the two of you. So then if there's a third person, that third person goes all the way until they hit their limit. And then they can, talk with you about how it is that they can alleviate that. And then you kind of keep going until you have the bucket line of people long enough to get the bucket of water from like the ocean to the building that's on fire. And I don't care if it takes 50 people snaking around a corner or if it takes 2 because the ocean's right there or whatever. It takes as many people as it takes. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, but with limited, as a matter of fact, the idea is cool because it's like a institutional organization, right? That's what we're really talking about is how do you create an institution that's actually functional, that serves its needs. But I think then that comes down to, for me, it comes down to money. Okay. I'm a capitalist. I want to pay people who do work. And there are talented, intelligent, and kind people who are willing to work for me for free. But at some point, I feel like that's abusive. And so I do have a vision of what I want this to be. I do have the goals and all that kind of stuff. And there might be a reckoning on the horizon between the goals that I want to achieve and our actual logistical capacity. That's probably on the horizon as far as all the things we want to do versus what we're actually capable of. Mm-hmm. But then that's where I'm hoping that the growth, however we get there, if we get up to 100,000, subscribers, which we're already at 22K. We were at 14K a month ago. Now we're at 22K. So we're almost a quarter of the way there. And it's been a month. Like, come on, nice. This is amazing. But once we get up to 100K and I can, wake up in the morning and put my butt right next to the microphone and just fart into it for 10 minutes and that'll get 10,000 views. That's not the content I want to construct, but that would be the kind of economic sustainability that would allow us to build the institution the way we want to. So unfortunately, we do have to break it into steps and think about institutional organization, but your insights are appreciated, but frustrating because it is, we are going to have to reckon with that because there is a lot of shit that we need to do.
Yeah, it sounds like you'll have to do it at some point. You just can't maybe do it now, and that's okay. Then you just keep doing and the other thing is sometimes, and this hurts, and this is really hard, sometimes you got to take your foot off of one gas pedal and move it to the clutch for a second because you got to shift gears. Like with the channel, okay, we had drama, we're hemorrhaging subs, things aren't going well. But you know what? I've been like in 6th gear and we're moving at a speed that is only good for like 2nd gear. I'm going to have to shift gears and we're going to lose more subs. I'm going to spend less time on like the content that people want, and we're not going to make the content people want. But that's because I've accrued this debt. I've overextended myself, and what I should be focusing on is something different. It's like, I want this community to be organized so that I have a place to funnel people into and keep them and do the things that I want to do. And that means that the content will suffer for a bit. And maybe for you, it's like, you know what? You guys are a bunch of fucking cats, and me and my editor are focused on getting this YouTube channel big so that eventually we can pay people to herd cats. And the more time that we spend herding cats is time that is spent like not getting the money to hire a professional cat herder. And you motherfuckers need a professional cat herder. So it is what it is. I'm gonna have to focus on my Warhammer 40K, and then we're gonna grow a little bit more, and then we'll reevaluate this in Q2 or next month or whatever, you know. And like, that sucks too, but that's also another thing to consider, you know, like. And sometimes you have to. Sometimes it makes more sense to spend the hours on something else, because in the medium to long term, it's going to help you accomplish the real goals that you want to accomplish, you know?
Fuck. Like it hurts to hear because I know it's true. So basically, the 40K stuff is algorithmically popular, but I have to cull a bunch of parasites. I have to. It's still going to be popular, and it's still going to do well because there are as many lore enthusiasts and content enthusiasts in that world, but there's a few hangers on who just want me to pirate content for their benefit because they don't want to pay $6 a month, which the fact that I've even attracted people like that into my community is disgusting to me. Like, I don't want their subscription. I want them to unsubscribe. Basically, but focusing on that or whatever for growth is good, but I have to remind people that this is a politics community. We do debates. I talk to Nazis. I talk to communists. We fight. You know, that's part of the show. So we have to keep our debate content live as well. The final part of it, though, that I really think is the funnel. They talk about like a sales funnel or whatever. 40K content for getting people's attention. Debates for getting people's attention, but also introducing them to my ideas. Solo rants and solo politics and self-improvement advice videos for what I want the people to do with their time, like 3 hours out of a month. I don't think that's a huge commitment. Encouraging people to do that, I think, should be part of the funnel. Finally would be like joining the community Discord, and then it would be either supporting the channel financially, if you don't have the time or the willpower or the interest in doing community-based organization, or if you don't have money, or if you would prefer to volunteer, then funneling people into that community action thing. And the problem is we're doing good at all of these things in spurts, where each funnel is each tier is doing like really good for a month and then tanks off, good for a month, tanks off, good for a month, tanks off. We haven't achieved a steady flow for all of those steps, unfortunately, but we're working on it.
Well, all that matters is that you keep working on it, I suppose. You'll do better and better over time. Yeah. That's the trend.
How do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
All right, brother. Well, hey, yeah, I am feeling myself wane, and I do have some shows later tonight, so I'm going to put the chat on break, come back, answer their questions, and then do some other content that I had planned. Can you shout it out yourself for the people at home, what you want to do in the future, who you want to attract, and what do you want the future of your community to be like? Sure.
I will keep doing debate reviews. Those aren't going to stop like immediately. Connor is part of that, and the community that still wants that is a part of that. I'm going to keep doing that for people. I'm just really going to try to focus on things I have something to say about, be careful about the things that I am saying, and give people what they want while I'm doing that. But I really want to focus on doing more IRL content and get better at that. Right now, it's like a hobby that I kind of want to put more time, energy, and money into to show people all the cool places I go. So background about me, every single month, I change countries. I go to a different country basically every single month. I've been traveling perpetually since I was like 18 years old. And I think that's a better thing to point a camera at and give insight for other people than this Twitch politics, how to argue better, when I don't even think arguing is necessarily something you ought to be doing all the time in the first place type of deal. So if you would like to learn how to travel better, if you want to get inspired, if you want to find a community of like-minded people that like movies or music or anime or D&D or whatever else, this is the place for you. We have a whole infrastructure in place on our Discord for making those clubs where you can plan out your activities and invite people. I shout them out and I use my platform to try and help you grow your thing. And yeah, if any of that interests you at all, feel free to click on Booksmarts at YouTube. I think YouTube is better than Twitch, so I would advise you go there. But if you're a Twitch person, then I'm on Twitch as well and probably will be for the foreseeable future. So I guess that's all the plugs.
All right. Awesome, buddy. Well, I appreciate it. I'm happy we were able to finally do this. I wish you well in your endeavors. I am sad that the toxicity of the space has kind of put a bad taste in your mouth, but I do think that your impact and talent was front and center for quite... No, I'm not kidding. Was front and center for quite a bit, where people were like, how do I measure up to the Booksmarts rhetorical standard? And the answer is, you fail it, because everybody fails rhetorically. But I think that as long as you're able to keep your hat in the ring and have some level of impact on advising people, that's a positive thing for the space. And your sobriety, not literal sobriety, but your like adult touch grass vibe, I think is healthy for younger people who are trying to figure out how to get their shit together. So I do appreciate it, buddy. So yeah, catch you soon.
Bye. Have a good one, Connor.
Bye, buddy.
All right. So there's that. Let's go ahead and switch this off here. 1 second. Okay. Ooh. So that was Counterpoints. You can find Counterpoints on YouTube or Twitch. I didn't know if I was hosting that or if he was hosting that, so I didn't know what the, what the plug situation should be. But there you go. That was Connor. Counterpoints. Again on Twitch or YouTube. Yeah. Goodbye to Counterpoints. He's cool. So here's what I'm gonna do. There are some people in my YouTube chat that I have been seeing that are, they seem like quite angry or upset or saying things that I feel like are rude. In the spirit of Connor, Mr. Counterpoints, I will invite you. If you want to join the Discord and you want to talk, I'll have you on. I'm going to Discord and ban the following people. Discord or ban. And the first motherfucker on my list is In Pursuit of Knowledge. So In Pursuit of Knowledge, you can hop into my Discord by doing !Discord, and you can hop into Discussion Room A in the Discord. And if you don't, and I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes, I'm banning you on YouTube. I'm just going to do it because you're being incredibly rude and distracting, and that's the last thing I need when I'm talking to somebody else. So I'm taking one out of Relly and Connor's book here, and I'll open the floor. If you want to come in there and we can have a conversation about that, cool. But if you want to be one of the people Connor's describing, throwing stones and not doing shit about it, then that is what it is. I don't know why you're being an asshole. If you want to explain this dickish thing that you were saying in the chat, cool. If you don't, whatever. Hey, anybody else? You got a big problem with me? Ding, ding, ding. Give me a TLDR of it in either chat that you're in, and then let me know what your Discord username is, and I'll determine whether or not I care enough to put you on the spot with it. But I'm setting a timer, and I will mute this so I don't trigger your phone at home.
Starting now.
So that's 5 minutes. And that is in the world of Death Note. That is how long that motherfucker has to live in that chat before they're banned. So there you go. Jealous. I need to start spouting dumb shit. Well, Chase, I am going to also add a timer for you. You just need to start spouting dumb shit? All right. Well, do you want a timer too? It sounds like Pursuit of Knowledge is going to grab his mic, then we're going to talk to him about whatever it is that he has a problem with. I'll give this a chance. Whatever. We'll follow what Connor says that I ought to do. I don't feel good about that stuff. It's not something I find fun to do, but we could try it and see if I get a good feeling, and who knows, Maybe the first time I tried it was with the wrong people and I didn't get the tingly sensation of my prostate that I should have gotten. I don't know. It could be something, bro. Could be something. Maybe I'll feel a tingle the way I didn't before, and Pursuit of Knowledge will satiate me in a way I've never been satiated. We'll give him the shot. Booksmarts, you're a failed streamer who can't even ride Destiny coattails anymore. Just kill yourself already. So that's going to be beyond what's even allowed on YouTube or on Twitch. So that's going to be a ban for you. Cause I think that's like literally TOS. So congratulations. There was a line that you had to hit to get on the Discord, and you've gone past it and over the edge, and now you need to be banned. So I would ban that person. /ban. Congrats. Okay. Don't read the band. I can't. Restream, it keeps people's messages, so I'm glad we're finding people that are problematic in my chat. I'm glad we're scraping the dirt here and seeing what kinds of weasels and bugs crawl out of it. You smoked the wrong strain the first time. What does that even mean? That's not even smart. My name is the same on Discord. Which room? Rewind. Okay, I'm gonna pull you in, and we'll see. All right, so what's your problem? Okay, I'm gonna pull you in, and we'll see. All right, so what's your problem?
Yellow, can you hear me?
And myself. So if you have me on TV,
I can't hear you. Oh no. Let me get my mic settings correct.
Okay, so we moved him back into discussion room A. We'll move Night Cleaner in. Good evening, this is Booksmarts. What's your problem?
Oh, I just wanted to let you know that I think you're a wonderful man. I was actually just playing around. I'm sorry.
Okay. Good evening, this is Booksmarts. What's your problem?
No, I didn't have a problem. I was just in there to test if Pursuit was, like if his...
I'll hang up on that caller. Good evening, this is Booksmarts. What's your problem? Hang up on that caller. Good evening, Booksmarts. What's your problem?
I hate Discord so much.
Good evening, Booksmarts. What's your problem?
I hate Discord so much. Oh, I'm sorry. Dude, I cannot get my settings correct. I got to switch out my headphones.
You've used up your problem on this thing, which I will solve for you. So the number one thing is you have to...
Without having to listen to you on YouTube.
You have to... Okay, so you can talk to me. So do you have it all solved then?
Now I can hear you without... Yeah, you're actually coming through my headphones now.
Awesome.
So, okay, so what was my issue with you earlier? To be honest, I just popped in. And the first thing I hear is you just honestly not saying much. But honestly, that's probably on me because I didn't listen to your whole conversation.
Gotcha.
And when I spewed, I'm guessing you just think I'm being super vitriolic. I was just saying, what actions are you talking about? So what actions do you have?
Like regarding what I was telling him that he could do to fix his problem with cat wrangling, or... I think it would be hard to have this conversation if you didn't watch before you commented that, right? Because this could just be a matter of like not having the context.
Not really. You could explain it to me pretty succinctly now if you would like.
Okay, so I'll do that briefly. So Connor was talking about how he has a problem of wrangling cats. Basically, like he has a lot of people that want to help him with stuff in his Discord, but he has a problem with trying to organize those people and get them all set up to do all the things that they need to do, like getting time scheduled with different streamers for talks, or getting people on the same page for mutual aid or dates for charity drives or whatever else. And so my recommendation to him was that A, maybe think about where you're spending your time. Should you be the one cat herding in the first place? B, maybe instead of advertising for cats, you need to advertise for a cat herder and find somebody who's willing to be a community leader to take over those tasks for you. Or C, use somebody who is already an existing person helping you and have that person take on more of the cat herding responsibilities. And then another thing that we talked about that was an action that he could take after that is like maybe cat herding and maybe bringing cats in is not right at this time. And maybe he needs to work more on getting the funding so that he could afford a cat herder before he gets 1 billion cats. Does that all make sense?
Okay, and so are you giving these recommendations off of personal experience, or where are these recommendations coming from?
Yeah, they would be coming from my personal experience having people help with like the debate reviews, or having people help with the YouTube or BGG or any of the other projects where we have like multiple people in teams working on stuff.
Okay, gotcha. So you're basically helping him create a new brand.
Yeah, and the actions are things that like I've done before that I found to be helpful.
Yeah, gotcha. So when I popped in and said those vitriolic things, I was just hearing you just say, just spinning your wheels and just saying a lot of niceties. That's why I was really wondering, it's like, what is this whole conversation about? But it's obvious that I came in, I guess, near the end there. I those sound like fine enough suggestions, I guess, or recommendations you have. I just think it's kind of funny that you honed so much in on my comments. I guess they really got you triggered.
In hindsight,
am I right about that?
Do you see how they were kind of ignorant?
No, not really. I mean, do you really expect every person who comes in to chat to be watching your conversation from the beginning?
So you don't think they were ignorant, but you said that you were commenting on things you didn't know anything about, and that the context probably would have made you not comment.
Well,
those
at
things.
that time, what you were speaking on, you weren't talking about actions. You were just saying niceties.
Like what?
So they weren't exactly ignorant.
What
right?
were the niceties?
You were just spinning wheels talking about, maybe you should rethink about getting cat wrangling, and maybe you should think about what actual people do you want in your community, which is not really an action. It's more like, hey, you need to figure out what you need to do. Hey, you do you, right? So that's what I came in on, right? But again,
that's
my
not
comments
niceties.
were
That's
nothing
like
really
legitimate
that
advice, right?
Strange. Say what?
That's not niceties, right? That would be still legitimate advice, right?
Not really. What advice is that? It's not real advice to say, hey, you need to find a brand.
That's not what I told them. I didn't say
minutes.
you need to find a brand. I said you need to redistribute the time that you're using in like an effective way. And maybe you spending your time on a task that you're not able to do with the limited time that you could dedicate to it is indicative of like that not working for you. And maybe you should focus on other things that'll give you the resources to solve those problems.
Okay. Again, it's not really giving great advice. I mean, isn't it obvious that wouldn't he already have that issue? Wouldn't he understand that he has that issue when he's not getting the sort of audience that he's looking for? Right? Like, he knows this already. He said it himself. He doesn't want the people that are coming in there for the $6 content or whatnot. Obviously, he wants actions. He doesn't need someone to say, hey, I'm just going to tell you the exact things you're already thinking. Is that I guess that's where the confusion is, right?
I suppose he hadn't mentioned before that point in the conversation that was the solution that he was considering in his mind, though, right?
Gotcha.
And even then, it would be a solution. And Connor and I both agreed that's a solution. So it wouldn't be a nicety. It's not like I'm just like running my wheels, like you were saying, or giving him like pleasantries that have nothing to do with his problems. He and I actually both agreed, like practically, that's probably what he needs to be doing. I'm not just like giving him vague stuff that doesn't really have anything to do with his problems.
Okay. Yeah,
Solid.
obviously I disagree. At that moment, I definitely didn't hear it that way at all.
Yeah, but now that you have, now you understand that like these are good bits of advice. They're coming, at least because Connor also agrees with them, they're coming from my own experience, and you just were missing context there to understand fully what was being told to Connor, right? Because you come in, you hear cats and cat herdling, and it sounds like we're several steps removed from even talking about what it is that is a problem, and you didn't know what the problem was, and it sounds like it's just two people talking past each other, right?
It did sound like two people talking past each other, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And that's just down to like not hearing before about like the specifics of the problems or where those analogies came from, right?
Right. And can you understand, as someone who comments, that I'm not going to have, all the context coming in watching a video. I don't know how long were you guys talking for. It says you guys been on for 2 hours. You've been on for 2 hours. I understand the Discorder band. That's really a fun meme and everything that content creators as yourself, it's, for chat, it's great. It's great content. Oh, yeah, we get to get a fight in. But if someone makes a comment like I did, and you do Discorder band because you're angry that I didn't see the last 2 hours, that's a little silly, right?
I'm not angry you didn't see the last 2 hours. That's not what I was upset about.
What are you angry about then?
I'm upset at the ignorant things that you said. I don't think you should be saying those things if you haven't been watching. I think instead you should ask questions. I think like, I didn't want to make this about advice for you, but if you want, I can. My advice to chatters that are coming in that don't understand the context of what's going on.
I wasn't asking for advice, I'll be honest. I wasn't asking coming in.
Okay, well, glad we solved that.
But I do appreciate you giving advice, but I wasn't asking.
And we're done with him. I think we adequately solved that one. I think we got to the bottom of that one. Anybody else? Discussion room A or discussion room B? I'll check the chat for more mean messages and we can get you in here and talk to you. But I think we get down to the bottom of that guy. All right, let's see. Someone's in Discord room A. I think the people you mentioned. Yeah, I got it. Pursuit is ready. Good to go. I like Book's facial hair. Gross. Your taste is bad. I don't know what else to tell you. I don't disagree with the people saying my facial hair is gross, bro. If anything, we're in agreement. We're more, nakama than we are, enemy, whatever enemy in Japanese is. Emono. Let's see here. Fuck, Booksmarts is draining his patience trying on this guy and it's going to end badly, which is exactly what he's been upset about. No, it's a fun way of exercising my patience. I didn't lose my patience with him. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? I don't know, bro. He's a YouTube chatter. No offense to my YouTube chatters, bro, but yeah, he is a YouTube chatter, bro. They haven't been, they're a disadvantaged group for multiple reasons. Do you really expect us not to fly off the handle and start insulting you at the first opportunity? Yeah, I know. Like, at the end of this, it's like, well, once we've gotten through what the problem is, I think the advice is to not do that again. Book's voice keeps dropping an octave as he sinks deeper and deeper into pissed off Books. I guess I'm just trying not to be too mean. All right. I'll keep scrolling through here. Complains about what he's talking about because he didn't hear the rest of the conversation. Yeah, exactly. Dude sounds like he loves the sound of his own voice. I don't know if you're talking about me or him, but I certainly love the sound of my own voice. Maybe he and I can, agree on that much. Is this guy even try to be introspective? That's, you know what? Being introspective is a lot like anal sex. You got to be in the mood for it, and you have to have done some preparation beforehand. That's what I think. You can't just be introspective willy-nilly, okay? You got to be in the right place. You got to be in the right mood, and you have to have done some preparation for that, bro. I can't force them to be introspective here. That's called rape, okay? I'm not raping him in this chat. That's why I asked. Do you want a little bit of advice here, bro? You seem like you could use some help. I don't know. But if you don't want it, then you don't want it, I'm just saying that's a fat ass. And I would love to just... But if you don't want me to, bruh, I can't just jump on it, bruh, okay? I can't promise you it'll be a good time and it'll work out, bruh. You got to meet me halfway. All right. Butt sex is supposed to be a surprise, though? Yikes, I got bad news for your rental sandwich. Books guides to being introspective. Enema. Yeah, maybe. All right. I don't see any other grossly offensive things being said in my chat. I'll give you guys another heads up. Hey, you got something bad about me you want to say? You got some evil thing you want to say? We should start a show on Booksmarts, and we'll dedicate it to Connor, and we'll run it for like 2 weeks, and it should be called "What's Your Problem?" And it doesn't have to be a problem about me. We could just have people in here to rant about some fucking problem and just try to be like patient with them and work through it with them. Because I kind of like the idea that I could try that. Maybe that would be good for me. Maybe it would make me enjoy this space more. I don't know. Maybe it would help me to find some light in the dark. I don't know. That kind of sounds fun. What's your deal with Booksmarts? What's your deal sounds like how IRI talks. The people are here to see cheeks clap, though. Nah, you don't want to go to YouTube for that. I got another tube that you could look at to see cheeks get clapped, though, if that's something you're interested in. I have a point of contention with one of your anime takes, Books. Get in the fucking Discord. All right, Chase. There's 5 minutes on the clock. Set a timer for 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Starting now.
Uh-oh, Chase. Uh-oh. Now you got 5 minutes on the clock, bro. It would sure suck to not be able to be a YouTube chatter anymore. You're already, in a lower class of society in terms of the live streaming world. And to be a banned YouTube chatter, that's the equivalent to being like an African slave, dude. You don't want that. Believe me. Nobody wants that. People are still having to apologize for that shit today. That's how bad it was, bro. So believe me, you don't want that for you. I know a lot of people who would love to call in. Well, hit them up, dude. Now's the time. Maybe we'll do it another day too. Good content. People can benefit from watching patience and practice over blood sport. That's a good way to sell it. Sure, we could sell it that way. It's all about patience, I'm in discussion room A, winky face. Okay. They're not. It's night cleaner. Unless you're night cleaner, which I don't think that you are. I don't see you. I helped at a tea house that required a complaint as payment. It was fun and cathartic for everyone. Huh. That's kind of fun. 5 minutes? That's like 10 million seconds. Yeah, that is 10 million seconds. Is it? I don't think I actually don't know if that's correct. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, this eat a bullet person. Eat a bullet, bro, if you're still listening. I can't even respond to him. So there was a dude that was talking mad shit. I think he was the one that told me to kill myself or whatever, the eat a bullet guy. And so he DMs me on Discord, and I go to call him a bitch as a response. It's like, your message cannot be delivered to this bitch. Poor guy, can't catch a fucking break, bro. He didn't even get to do the Discord call, bro. How unfortunate. An unfortunate situation, dude. I hope the problems are mostly tedious mechanical card problems or medical problems. That'd be kind of fun. It'd be easy, though. I'd just be like, consult the doctor. I don't know. We could handle them as they come along. That's kind of fun. Oh, shit. That's funny. Chase, I don't see you in my discussion room, Chase. Tis, TikTok, motherfucker. Let me see how much more time you have. Whiskey soda? I would love whiskey soda, actually. Hell yeah. But after stream, if you are still awake. He was all races at one. Wait, what? Oh, sorry, I'm reading the wrong chat. I'm sitting here reading stream discussion when I should be reading. Let's see. What am I supposed to be reading? Oh, the discussion room A. It's me? Oh, okay. If that's you, I guess I'll drag you in. I think his chat message means he is the one in that channel waiting. Oh, okay. Oh, he changed his name, Chase. What's your problem?
Hey, okay. Let's really break down your opinion on other people's opinions on Evangelion.
Sure.
Because-
what's your problem there?
Well, okay. I feel like people can take what they want from that anime, and that there's a large amount of good stuff to take. It's an ugly anime, and I'm talking like the entire thing. So I'm talking the television show, I'm talking the movies, including the moment we don't need to talk about on YouTube, and I'm talking about the remakes that, spoilers for anybody out there, cover your ears right now, are effectively sequels. So I remember in one of your videos, I think it was maybe 4-6 months ago, you brought up the fact that people who try to find more in that series might have a problem. And that struck me as strange. And you also elaborated that, like, if you think that's strange, maybe you need to evaluate why. So yeah, I want to break it down because I think that there's a lot of really good stuff in there, that it's like this open book portrayal of mental illness, like warts and all. That, I mean, sure, it's a metaphor, but like there is some really good stuff in there. And I just found it weird that you just kind of write off that there, like, that other people can have that type of interpretation. And I may be misquoting you a little bit here, but it was just like you had a very strong opinion about trying to interpret that anime, and that you should just recognize it as this fun, flashy thing that this guy made because he just put all the stuff that he likes in it.
I think Evangelion, same as any other kind of art or whatever else that you're consuming, you could see as much or as little meaning it as you would like. So if you see it as an analogy to mental illness or a discussion of it or a commentary on it, then as far as I'm concerned, that's your deal. In much the same way that for me to not see any of that based on the interviews that I see of Ano, I think that is valid in the same way. I think different people are going to think different things about art. Some people are going to look at abstract art and they're going to say that dude just flicked a brush at a canvas randomly and everybody else is seeing things in it that don't exist. And for the people that do see things that do exist, those are all just interpretations of the art, right? Yeah. And I could stereotype, even if you don't like it, I could stereotype the kinds of people that see different things in it. The same way maybe I could stereotype the kinds of people that see different things in clouds all the time or something like that. And I'm not sure if that helps you with the problem at all, knowing that, like, yeah, it's fine if you see something else there. There's so much there that you could definitely tune into the static and hear something that helps you or is meaningful or whatever. Does that necessarily mean that was Ano's intention? Well, we would have to like have Ano say it was his intention to know, but does it mean that the art itself didn't contain that image or does contain that image? No. I mean, like, the art exists independently of whatever meaning we assign to it, right?
Sure. Okay. There's a lot there. Okay. So Ano's intentions, probably never going to know 100%. He has said many things, but also kind of flip-flopped because he admits at times that he hates the art that he has created, that is Eva. But like, he's also constantly trying to stuff the stuff that he loves in it. That's why you get like pastoral scenes in the last movie where like they spend, God, almost an hour in this tiny little farm community. And it's beautiful and it's filled with other Eva stuff in it. So it's like his beautiful art on top of like real nature that he tried to emulate through animation through his team. But like the suggestion that, Okay, you know what? Yeah, this is kind of a losing battle, and I recognize it. Like, absolutely, art is subjective, depending on the individual. The artist's intent, I don't think we're ever going to get a clear answer about Anno. I just find it surprising that, I mean, okay, can we just for a second couch this? I'm going to say I actually really enjoy the show. I really enjoy the movies, and I take a lot from them. What do you take out of that show, and what do you take out of those movies? Because then I think we can have a productive conversation.
I'll pick one thing in particular that would make you happy, because I get all sorts of stuff out of it.
Sure, go ahead.
Like, okay, I'll pick one that's not like a hentai reason. Okay, just to keep it safe for this Twitch chat. I think
I wouldn't judge you if it was the hentai stuff. So whatever, like whatever works for you.
Anno's mention of the porcupine dilemma in the first Eva animated series, I found was helpful for me, and I found was like an explicit bit of meaning that he put into the work because it's something that he's interested in or he likes. And I thought that was helpful to me at the time, being an edgy little boy. And so there's a bit of meaning that I found in the work that was helpful to me. Does that answer that?
Yes. Yeah, I believe it does. What do you feel about his like the remake, the movies? Have you watched them, or do you even care?
I haven't watched them.
Okay. And I'm not gonna force you to. I'm just gonna comment that the framing that is established in those films, especially by the end of it, is this, and also just the message that comes through, depending on what you're looking for. But the message that comes through is that as you grow, like what defined that first series, the TV show, and then eventually the movies that he would make for it, not the remakes that have been released in the last decade, was framed around the Hedgehog's Dilemma. Like Shinji was about that. But those last, especially the last film that was made like last year, it's about realizing that sometimes you grow into Akari. Sometimes that's who you become. And sometimes you need like a universe destroying event that brings your mind together with somebody else's in order to be able to communicate, because communicating is so hard. Like the clarity of communication, like it is so difficult to just say what is important, right? Like this is why often we can't help the people we care about, because when we try to communicate, sometimes we're just hurting them. Like that's the Hedgehog's Dilemma. But like that last chapter, that last film that's created, is him using every plot device, every piece of narrative he's ever created to just say, hey, you know what? If I had a magical ability, I would use it to help people recover. And I thought that was like a really strong, powerful message. So like, it's interesting because without the context of everything that came before, none of it matters. And it's a huge ask to expect somebody to watch the entire show and all of the movies. But like, that's what I get from all of Evangelion. And so when I, like when I hear somebody who's just like, yeah, it's just a bunch of nice stuff that he put in that he liked, I don't think that's true. Because there were times that he was creating Evangelion that he hated himself, and he hated that he had to do it, and you can see it. And I believe that's why some of the last films took so long to come out. But I you know what? I'm not sure if this is really going to be any more productive. It's just I thought you had a really surprising opinion on it, and I think it's just because you didn't hit that point yet, and you might never, right? You might never get through all those films.
Yeah. Or I get through them, and then you'll be disappointed with what I saw in it. But, that's how it be.
Yeah, well, that too. Yeah, that too. There are a lot of people who watch them, and they're just like, I don't know why this is here or why that's there. So, yeah, okay. Yes, we're allowed to have different opinions. I'm sorry.
Did I solve your problem, Chase?
I don't know. I'm going to keep advocating to convince people that Eva is worth it. I'll keep trying, Book.
Could I get a yes so I could put it in a YouTube compilation?
Booksmarts, yes. Talking to you has solved so many of my problems, and I appreciate everything that you do.
Oh, I'm happy to do it. See, that's God's work, party people. We're going to kick that motherfucker out of the Discord shit. There we go. I got my YouTube clip, bro. All right, who's next? Who's got a fucking problem, bro? Anybody else before I go to bed? Anybody else? Anybody else have some fucking problem with some dumbass thing I said about anime, huh? Any one of you motherfuckers want to come in here, bro? Huh? I know you motherfuckers talk shit anytime I talk about anything regarding anime, bruh. So you fucking weebs better come out of the woodwork, bruh. You better fucking katana slash your way out of the fucking bamboo thicket you've been hiding in, motherfuckers, and come out here. Otherwise, I'm gonna start fucking dropping some napalm on this shit and get you to crawl out like cockroaches, bruh. I'm telling you. I'm gonna start discording or banning people that fucking say some shit about my anime takes, bruh. I'll put you on the goddamn spot is what I'll do. As long as you don't like isekai, I do like isekai. Motherfucker. Oh no. Civil creature. This is your 5 minutes, buddy. And, otherwise you're going to have to wait a long time, and then you're going to have to fill out an unbanned form and go through bureaucracy. It's not going to be fun for you. Set a timer for 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Starting now.
Ruh-roh. No thanks. Well, welcome to the timed out for... How many days should we do it for? We shouldn't ban him. He did respond and said no thanks. You can end the timer. Matter of fact, I can end your posting period on here. Hold on. Are they a sub? I haven't looked. I'm on my restream chat. If they are a sub, praise unto Allah. I will only time them out for 24 hours. If they are not a sub, what should we give them, chat? What should we give them if they're not a sub? What should we give them if they're not a sub? Enjoy your weeb trash. Well, I think that's looking 69 hours. How many hours is 69? Hey, Google. How many days is 69 hours?
69 hours is equivalent to 2.875 days.
That sounds like 3 to me. That's 3 to my ears. Timed out for 3 days. We'll see you back, Civil Creature. I hope I can turn you into a sub. That way you only get timed out for a single day. 69 is nice. There we go. It's how he wanted to go out, party people. That's how he wanted to go out. He wanted the 69 hour ban. That's okay. It's all copacetic, dude. Make them fill out the unbanned form for more content. Yeah, that's what we'll start doing, bro. I'm in the community arc. We'll start whatchamacallit, cannibalizing our own community members. That's what we'll do. Hi, Wolfgang. All right. People who say a whole category is bad or completely are probably wrong. Interesting that you won't just jump on board and say are wrong. Interesting that you'll drop that probably in there, huh? I got a problem with no art channel and your Monster Hunter take. Wolfgang, welcome to the 5-minute club. Hey, Google, set a timer for 5 minutes.
5 minutes. Starting now.
And there's your 5 minutes, Wolfgang. I hope to see you in discussion room A so we could see what's your problem, okay? And as soon as I see you join in there, I will put you in here. Art channel when? Maybe at the end of this conversation. Maybe to solve this person's problem, I just go ahead and add an art channel. We're solving problems left and right. I want my YouTube compilation of me solving people's problems. I'm telling me the problem is solved. That's what I want. Good evening. What's your problem?
Hello, sir. I'm a bit worried that my birds in the background are going to annoy you, but let's make this quick then, all right?
Okay.
So, for starters, the art channel. Sir, you're an artist. You make drawings. I watch your drawing streams. They're fun. Why in the world wouldn't you want to have a record of that? Not just from you. Like, you can post them there. Sure, I know you do stuff with them on Patreon. But you inspire a community of creatives, and I don't know why you don't have visual creativity from your channel, from your community being posted. It's insane to me. It boggles the mind. I'm upset at you.
This sounds like a two-part problem. Can I break it down? You tell me if that's correct.
Okay, let's break it down.
All right. So problem number one, why don't I have an art channel? Why haven't we had an art channel up to this point? The answer to that is because of the not safe for work rule being so very, very strict on this Discord. What's difficult about having an art channel is that people are going to post things that fall within the gray area of not safe for work and will be constantly frustrated by moderators' activities to keep that under control. Up until recently, we only had 2 moderators, and one of them was also in charge of admin stuff. So it was difficult to add a channel that would very clearly cause problems for the moderation team. So that's the reason why it's been so long coming. Number 2 of your problem is that there doesn't exist an art channel. And I think I've solved problem 1 by answering your question. Maybe that gives you some information about why there hasn't been an art channel. Would you say that's fair?
It's fair. I have a couple questions. Are you concerned about, because I know that like not loot stuff, but anatomy studies, right? That's probably not something that you're willing to pull out. Like if a stranger's in front of your phone and they see like naked figure drawing, right? It's all educational. It's not lewd, but I'm assuming that's something that probably make you uncomfortable is my guess then, right?
Correct. It wouldn't be allowed.
Gotcha. Okay. Couldn't that be solved by just, no, I guess the moderation thing is what you just mentioned. Okay. I understand where you're coming from. I'm still going to fight for there being some kind of art channel that maybe in the future could be closely regulated. I'm going to be pushing you and donating and annoying you for that. So that's not going to go away anytime soon. But sure, I understand where you're coming from. I get that.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not going to fleece you. Here's what I'm going to do. I'll make an art channel.
Okay.
I'll make an art channel. I'll solve your problem number 2. What I'll ask for you in return is to get a clean soundbite where you say that I've solved both of your problems. The art channel has been created. It is below music, and it is there. Ooh. And now my moderation team will hopefully not have as much work as I perceive that they may have with that channel, but that's done. So now from you, have I solved both of your problems?
You have solved both of my problems. You defeated me. You've won, Sir Smarts. You solved it.
Awesome. Thank you, Wolfgang. Have a good day. Yet another happy customer from the complaints department. They said it couldn't be done. I said, shut your motherfucking mouth. Get in my motherfucking discussion channel or you're banned in 5 minutes. That's what I told them. And it's, you know what? We've solved every fucking problem that's walked through this motherfucking door. And I pride myself on that, okay? We have a perfect track record. What the fuck is your... what I don't know what MH is, so I don't know what take I have on that you don't like. No, you need to tell him how we already have a not safe for. No, it's I have to solve the problems of the people, Revan. So now we have an art channel. Now, if that art channel becomes a problem, we can also not have an art channel anymore. Okay, that's a very real thing. I'm going to scroll through my chat for disagreeable things. If you have a disagreeable thing, you got a fucking problem with me, voice up. Say your piece in this chat so I can determine if it's worth it. I mean, I haven't seen every category of every medium of media, so I cannot be sure. Sounds like you shouldn't be opening your goddamn mouth about generalizations if you don't know the thing that you're generalizing about. Borio? Does Booksmart say Monster Hunter is bad? Oh, Booksmart's never said it was good. He most certainly never sung its praises. That's for damn sure. That motherfucker ain't said a good thing about Monster Hunter ever. Not that I remember. What advice do you have for them? For who? They don't need advice. They said I solved their problem. We made a deal, bro. I'm not gonna be spitting and biting at the hand that feeds, bro. Come on now. And Wolfgang is a dedicated person in my community. I don't even know who you are, Pursuit of Knowledge. And what I do know about you doesn't make me necessarily like you. You jumped into a stream you had no context for and said mean things. That doesn't speak well of your character. And then when I offered you advice about it, you said no butt stuff. I don't like when people tell me no butt stuff, bro. That's not fun at all. Anywho, I will carry out the orders like a Star Wars clone, K comrade. Okay, good to hear. Good to hear. Yes, get to it. We're watching a ruthless businessman in action, farming the cliffs to build the brand. Yes, sir. This is what we're doing. Maybe we should do more of these. I kind of actually am enjoying this. Maybe Counterpoints was right. Maybe I do enjoy this. Monster Hunter, bro. Come on with the context clues. Nah, I'm not giving you anything about Monster Hunter, bro. I'm gonna check the discussion room. We ain't got nobody in here. How fast was that? Yeah, it's like instant, dude. Wait, was there already something that was not safe for work in here? Oh no. Booksmarts was right again, dude. I've got the foresight of a fucking oracle, dude. How did I know there was already going to be problems with the art channel? Holy shit. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right. Well, if there aren't any more disagreeable, that this was very entertaining, I'm happy to hear it, dude. It's been a fun stream. It's been a fun day. And in case you missed the last VOD where we were going to the Maritime Museum in Denmark, you could check it out. I think that's one that you could miss. I don't think it was that good. You could watch the first VOD because every time I switched networks, it changed VODs. I think the first VOD was good. Also, if this seems like fun, even if you don't like me, even if your name is Pursuit of Knowledge, join the Discord. Pursuit of Knowledge. There is a community in here for you. I think between Mercury, Very, and Himbo Hugh, you could find some fun. I think maybe Mr. Thick is another person. I think with these 4 people, you could have some fun. I would encourage you, even if we didn't have a very agreeable conversation, to join the Discord, go into the drama chat, and say, hey, I was that guy. And to engage with some people. At Himbo Hugh and ask him, hey, what's your thoughts on transracialism? Do whatever. I think make some friends. I think you can make some friends in this Discord. And I think if we bring you into this community, we can shape you into a fine young person. And I think it'll be for the best. I think you have some people in here you could. Yeah, look, Mercury's in that chat with you. Mercury is a YouTuber. I didn't say I didn't like you. Oh, okay. Well, then that's great. Then I think you'd really like the Discord. But yeah, no, I think there's plenty of people you could have fun with in the Discord, honestly. And this applies to anybody, I think the Discord's fun. That's just what I'm going to keep muting people. Oh, I think Hugh's timeout is going to... don't judge a felon by their felony. Don't judge someone who's been to prison for going to prison, okay? But the Himbo Hugh guy that I'm recommending that you talk to, sure, he's been to jail a few times. He's been to Discord prison. He's been timed out. He may be coming back from his timeout any hour now, okay? But he's... I think you could get along with him, man. No offense, man, but I just don't think you give good advice. That's fine. And no offense, man, but I just don't think you know good advice when you see it. Because you missed out on at least fucking 5 different examples of what I would consider good advice in the short span of time that I've known you. So you may just not be, I may not be the best guy giving advice, but you may not be the best judge of giving advice. If we can agree on those 2 things, then hey, I think we could coexist together. Yeah, I think Hugh would be a fun person to be friends with. All right. Hugh's still muted. I think Hugh will be coming out of that real soon. We will help Hugh reintegrate into the community. Bing chilling. Yeah, we'll reform Hugh. Hugh's got a lot of edges from the other communities he's been a part of. We gotta rub out Hugh's edges, some of the bigotry and stuff. I think we could get Hugh to stop. I do. I think you give good advice on climbing with Timo. I do not envy being a streamer. Have a great day. Not a problem. I would like to say I don't envy being a chatter, but man, is being a chatter fun. I love fucking with streamers, dude. You fucked with me, but I'll be honest with you, I have fucked with many a streamer, bro. I've gotten many a streamer, and yours probably wasn't even intentional. You probably didn't even think I would pick you out like that. But I do all the time. I fuck with Relly fucking relentlessly. I fuck with Chud pretty fucking bad, dude. I'm gonna be real with you. I play mind games with those motherfuckers. It don't work on Supreme. Supreme is too fucking high level, bro. He sees my name and it diffuses everything. Those two still fall for it. It's hilarious. Gotta help you. No. Are you calling DGG bigots? I didn't say anything about DGG. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I said he was from other places, bro. He was in all sorts of places. He was in a lot of different Discords. I think you're kind of self-reporting here. Honestly, City Accords. Booksmarts hablas español un poco. Entonces que soy mexicano. Pero soy de Costa Rica también. Entonces ya no me gustan los mexicanos. No, I'm just kidding. But from my experience of old Costa Rican people, they do not seem to gustan los mexicanos, if you know what I'm saying. At Booksmarts, do you know Tom Foolery? Yeah, he actually shows up in chat randomly all the time. I like that guy. Yeah, it's good to know that you like that guy. Would be cool to see you chat with him. Well, I actually think Tom Foolery did an interview for a Destiny documentary or something, and I appeared on his channel. If you look up, if I look this up, it's gonna be a real pie in your face moment, huh? Booksmarts Tom Foolery. Yeah, wait, hold on. Booksmarts versus Lauren Southern. Watching Lauren Southern versus Booksmarts plus talking to sourcing. I thought I talked to this guy already, didn't I? Jesus, he has so many videos on Lauren Southern versus Booksmarts. What the hell? Can we sort this by recent? Eczema? Eczema? I thought I talked to him about his documentary thing. It may have been somebody else though. Booksmarts versus your mom? ¿De verdad? So sabía que hablas español? Algún día podemos hablar sin problemas. I'd have to break this down to understand it. ¿De verdad? Is that true? So sabía que hablas español? I don't think so is a Spanish word. I think you're saying so as in entonces or therefore. Sabía que hablas español? I don't even know if sabía is. I don't know. Sabía que hablas español? So you know how to speak Spanish. Algún día podemos hablar sin problemas. I forget algún. I don't think this is dia as in day because it doesn't have the accent mark. Podemos, we can speak without problems. I don't think we can speak without problems. We just ran into problems, so. No, I'm not good at Spanish, bro. Yeah, I'm very bad at Spanish. How would you recommend someone learn Spanish? I want to know what the Spanish speakers in my video games are saying. I think you should. I think if you're really serious about learning a language, you should do AJAT, the AJAT method, but for whatever language you're learning. AJAT is all Japanese all the time. Basically, you do a ton of input and you focus on input and not grammar and stuff. And then you build sentence flashcards that are called I+1. I being everything that you know, and +1 meaning it's one extra thing that you didn't know. You could take basic Spanish grammar if you wanted to. That way you're going to get a bunch of vocabulary words and learn about how to conjugate verbs and stuff like that. But you could start with okay, this phrase in my video game is que fue? Okay, so que fue is how strong. Oh, okay, so K is kind of how, and fue is kind of strong. And maybe you could then look up other instances of how K is used, que bonito, or I don't know, you can find other ones. And then you understand K, and now you're adding the +1, which is going to be a new word every single time, right? And then the next time you hear somebody use K, and then they say something else, you know that they're remarking upon how much of something is going on or how much of something is, and you just figure out what the something is, right? And then you build the language that way. And the benefit of that, as opposed to learning it all grammatically through textbooks and stuff, is that you're only going to build a database in your brain of how to speak based on native speakers or native language media. And that's kind of the benefit there. You don't learn anything that's going to sound funky. You don't develop a funky way of speaking. You don't get stuck in the trap of converting between like your native language and the other language. So that would be my advice to anybody who really wants to learn a language. Booksmarts, I need to hear what you think about ethical veganism. No. That's... I've hit my veganism quota for the month, dude. I've talked too much about veganism off stream. I don't want to talk about it on stream. Sorry. K? Poor K? What? Why? I don't know, bro. Why don't you stop asking so many dumbass questions? Do you still want to learn a fighting game? Hell no. Waste of my time. I'm not good at video games. I shouldn't. All right. We're all done. I'm going to find a place to put the Twitch people. I'm going to check my discussion room. There's nobody in there. Sweet. We have solved all the problems in all of my Twitch chat. Congratulations. Nobody has any problems. We are problem free. That's great. We solved every problem that came in here today. That's amazing. Okay, Book, I will return next month. Love you. Thank you. I look forward to having you back, and I hope we can make a subscriber on YouTube out of you, and maybe even a YouTube member. That way you get some of those cute little emotes. Speaking of getting stuck in a language trap, I don't think we can use that word anymore, friend. I was very, very surprised to learn that Johnny Depp is not from Europe. What? He's from Kentucky. Moved to Florida at 3, then moved to Cali. You sound like you've had your whole world turned upside down by this revelation. I'm sorry to hear that, Anonymous Lizard. If that's a problem you want to solve, just let me know, bro. I'm good at it. I have to eat meat or I'll be slightly more sad. Well, take that up with the vegan fella in the chat. I just got here. All cause problems. All right. As the door is closing, a foot was placed into it. Social climbing socialist. What's your problem? I don't think you knew what you were walking into, but if I tell my phone to count down 5 minutes, that would give you 5 minutes to join the Discord, go into discussion room A, and be dragged on stream to tell me, what's your problem? And then we try to solve it with each other, okay? Do you want to do that? Is that really what you want to do, social climate socialist? Is that really what you want to do? You don't have your Amazon Prime account linked to your account here. So if you end up getting banned, it's going to be for 7 days. That's a long time, social climate socialist. Subscribers only get 1 day. So I don't know if that's a gamble you want to take. I don't know if that's something you want to put on the line. Hi, I have absolutely no idea. Not really, XD. Well, at least you lowercase your X. I guess that's orthodox. Okay. Good thing I gave you the out and you took it. Okay. I went, hey, motherfucker, do you really want to have your foot in this door? Do you really want the can of whoop ass that is sitting on the other side of this bar? And you're like, no, actually, hold up. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, dude. I just have a thing with doors as they're closing. I'm a little bit of a dickhead. I love like putting my foot in there. My bad, bro. I don't want to have my ass whipped, actually. Let me go ahead and I need to find a fucking Uber home, bro. I think I've had a bit too much, bro. All right, I'll see you, bro. You already banned Twitch, bro? Just got to the Mexicano comment. Yeah, just let's not translate that for all the other gringos in the chat, okay? That's I like how I Googled that. That's un secreto de español, okay? Es por los dos. I made you stream longer. Great success. I caused a tiny problem. And I'm about to solve it by raiding out. All right, where are we going, party people? Where do you want to go? Which Twitch streams are live right now? Let us take a look. Si, senor. Okay, gracias. Let's go to... All right, which bridge do we want to fix? Should we go to I'm Really Important, who's arguing with some lady? Actually, I know where we'll go. At first, I wanted to do Counterpoints because we just talked to him, but you know what? We owe somebody else who was in line before Counterpoints. Okay, we'll catch Counterpoints on another stream. I am going to raid you into a new creator in the space. Her name is Lemonies, okay? Kind of like Lebanese, but not really, okay? So we're going to send you over to Lemonies. She is the person I hang out with in Copenhagen. She went with us to Copenhagen, Christiania, and Refn, and she'll be hanging out with me tomorrow, and we might live stream that. So look forward to that. I'm going to send you over to Lemonies. Tell her Booksmart says hi and is looking forward to tomorrow. And I'll see you guys then, and you guys will see her then. So get to know her, pile in. See you later. Yeah, I'll see you later, Roy. I hope you have a good one. I made you stream longer. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You most certainly did. Congratulations. Thanks for streaming. Yeah, of course. No problem. It's my pleasure. I'm doing streams that I like to do, and that's always a good thing. See you later, party people. Have a good time. Into my YouTube chat. Thank you. I hope you leave comments. I hope you leave likes. I hope you subscribe. That's all helpful. That all tells me I'm on the right track. We'll do another segment like this. That'll be fun. And until next time, have a good one. Stay safe.